Oh, you know what? I think I decided after this series, I'm going to take the White Sox to win the AL. How you feel about that? You frozen? Oh, I forgot. You think I'm mushing the White Sox.
I'm going to cuck chair chat.
It's like I don't think we. I bet the under and faded Messi with Krabs. This is fucked.
What makes a finger blast a reversed finger blast?
How about I just show you? I went like this on my comforter. I was like pointing down. I'm going to gift you a sub right now. It's $5.99. I'm going to pay it. I did it from the Book It Twitch. So Book It just paid for it. Are you standing or sitting? You want me to comment on? I'll comment on fucking everything. I'll comment on the glare and the TV in the background.
I fucking hate hardos, dude. I hate hardos. All the fucking people in your comments about the lattes, and they're so fucking cool because they drink black coffee and fucking IPAs. Oh my God, I hate hardos, dude.
Look at that. A new intro. W Goots, W Pega, W whoever else put that together. Hold on. I don't know that I like this setup. I feel like my camera angle is a little flat, or maybe it's a good, maybe it's where I should be. Sometimes the laptop's a little bit up and then angled down. I kind of like that.
Should be there.
It should be there, right? Hold on. No. Hold on. Everybody just hold the fuck on. Everybody just hold on. Yep. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like this a lot more too. Good morning, everybody. How we doing? What does that say? Oh, Milan will always be Milano. Yep. What's up, Sam? Good to see you. What is this? What is this logo, by the way? I almost thought this was like the new Clippers logo, but it's not. I hate the new Clippers logo. What's up, Peach? Got the juice. Haven't seen you in a long time. Wow, you all like this shirt? Yeah, I have a nice shirt collection. You know, if you guys remember the streams a long time ago, back in the old, I don't have the thing to wipe my glasses with. Back in the old days when when it was just myself streaming, I would rotate some pretty suave shirts. Pretty suave shirts. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know if you remember this, but Chewy loved them. Chewy loved the shirts, and he said I inspired him. And one day Chewy got all dressed up and he sent me a picture and he was like, "Hey, Unc, I just wanted to let you know you inspired me to dress well today." I was like, "Wow, that's very nice of you." I don't even really have good taste. It's really all my wife's doing. What's going on in here? Oh, look at Greg coming on in, giving out 10 sub banks. You got to love that. Listen, Greg is hard at work, cranking on the newsletter. That's right. Don't forget the Degenerate newsletter, now the Fake Sharp newsletter. But we are going to be talking and tweeting and writing about our season previews. Greg, he's been a little absent. He's got a lot going on in the real world, but he's cranking. And we've already discussed when we went out and watched the World Cup. He's going to be back. He would actually be streaming with me tomorrow. However, I am going to be traveling, and I don't know if I can make a show happen tomorrow, which is very unfortunate because I really, really, really do not want to take any shows off. I really pride myself in no days off and grinding and making it happen for you guys. Hold on. Why does my mic says I'm really low? Check. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit better. Can I get a gain check, Kiwi? Wow, I can't believe how much you guys like these shirts. All right, maybe I'll wear these shirts a little bit more. I haven't really been putting a lot of effort in lately to what I wear on the stream, but maybe we can get back to that. W Chris Bookett hat, by the way. Also, Bookett's got some golf merch, W Corp, W promo. And when we do this golf match between Biev and BK, I want to rock some. So if I got to buy some, if I want to get some sentiment, you know what I mean? We'll figure it out, but I'd like to rock one of those polos. I think I'm too old for a nails hat. Too old for a nailsman hat, but that's fine. I'm 39, which 39 is a weird age. It's a weird number. A little behind Greg, a little ahead of Steak, you know, but that's gain is a little too high. Oh shit. Okay. How about that? W Greg though, appreciate you getting the Thursday stream off with some subs. I think Greg is just got to Rhode Island. Greg, if you're in here, if you're not in here, that's okay. But anyways, thanks for popping in and giving some subs to the good people of the Jeff Can Rock a Backwards hat. Yeah, I think so. The one thing that I don't do, I will say this, and I'm not really calling anybody out. It's more of, it's just the way it is. It's how people wear hats. One thing we talk about what I am and am not too old for. The way kids nowadays wear their hats is something that I'm not really into. It's not my thing. Like, I'll wear the hat like, you know, like it'll go on my head. The new age of wearing hats is very interesting to me. It's like, let me make it a little bit looser. I have a ginormous head. The new age of wearing hats is kind of like this, you know? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, this is kind of like the fuck boy thing. I don't even know if it's like fuck boy. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can't do that. And I won't do that. I won't even try to do that. But the one thing that I used to do when I wore hats is I would always bend the bill. What do you call this? The brim, the bill. You know what I'm talking about. I would always bend it. Like back in the day, you know, in the 90s and early 2000s, that's what kids would do. We bend the shit out of it. So I'm not going to really do that anymore. Honestly, I mean, this isn't even really a hat. You know, Bookett didn't say, "Hey, go on and sell some hats." This hat is like turnkey. That's what we say in the real estate world. If you have an apartment that like you could just move right in, you buy it, you get the keys, you close it, boom, turnkey, open, move your shit in. That's kind of how this Bookett hat is. The bill, I didn't even have to do this. You know what I'm saying? But I like it. But yeah, I can't. That's not for me. It's not for me. I don't like it. I'm not gonna judge you for it because again, if I think something again that you can appreciate about me is I will try to be rational. I will try to be reasonable. And when I was a kid, I got into some really stupid shit. You know, I really did. I don't even know if you guys know what Jinkos are. Do you know what Jinkos are? I mean, I wore Jinkos. Everybody was wearing Jinkos. They're like baggy ass jean shorts. I wore the fuck out of those. I went through a little bit of a skater phase, rollerblading phase. I played street hockey. True story. You guys don't, I don't even know if I've ever even told you this story. This is a fake tooth. That's a fake tooth right here. I got my fucking, my tooth knocked out with a hockey stick. That's right. That's right. You think I'm fucking around at like 9 years old. That's right. I had fucking, I told you, I liked the Penguins. I liked Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr. I was playing with them in the video games, and I got a hockey stick and some like shin guards and shit, you know, the elbows and stuff. Yeah, I had a FUBU jersey. Yep, FUBU jersey. I forget the number, but it was white with blue. I had the No Limit Soldiers. I guess you could say I went through like a little bit of a, you know, Malibu's Most Wanted, kind of a wigger stage, I guess, right? Where it's like a white boy trying to be like, you know, like into hip hop and everything. I don't really know if that term exists anymore, but yeah, I was rocking a FUBU jersey. And a hobby that I got into, paintballing. Do you know what paintballing is? Does anybody know what paintballing is? I was a big paintballer. Traffic, looking for my quack. Paintball and Fox. Yeah. So fun fact. When I went to play paintball, I had camo pants on and I wore a FUBU jersey because it was kind of thick. And the people on my team would call me FUBU. That's what they would call me. They would call me FUBU. Like, FUBU, get down. It was kind of funny. But I got into paintball when I remember, I forget how old I was, but I remember the first time my parents opened me a number 5 FUBU. Jay Free, what's up? I remember when my parents got me, they were like, okay, my parents, I got great parents. They went through an ugly divorce. It was bad, not to get all TMI, but like they were really, really good parents. But the one thing, like, my dad never really, he always emphasized like credit. Like, you know, don't fuck your credit up, which I did. Spoiler alert. I fucked my credit up pretty good, but I ended up took me years to fix and get right, which long story. But if you ever want to have a conversation about credit, we could do that. I think they opened a bank account for me and they gave me a debit card. But the first, like, it was like a birthday present or something. It was like, all right, I'm going to give you $100. And at that time in my life, I'm like, that's a fuck ton of money. You know, when you're a young lad and you're getting $100, you're like, wow, I'm rolling in it. So true story. I was big into paintballing and I ended up getting out of paintballing because it's a very expensive hobby. And we didn't have a lot of money. Like, my dad did okay for a couple of years, but again, going through a divorce, like, that shit'll cost you. So anyways, I couldn't really keep up with paintballing, but I did it for a couple of years. But when I had a paintball gun, and the first thing I did, the first purchase I think I ever made when I got $100 on my first bank account, is I went online, AOL.com, you know what I mean? Whenever it started up, dial up, boop, 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 you get in. I went on to this website and I bought a scope for my paintball gun. I can talk about paintball guns on Twitch, right? That's fine. So it was a scope you put on top of the paintball gun. It had like a little thing on it with a red dot. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I thought it was so fucking cool. I thought it was so cool. And this thing was probably, I think it was like $60, ended up being like $80 with shipping. You know, it took all my money. You talked about wet ass pussy yesterday. That's right. Can't wait to hear how Jeff had. Oh, stop it. If you could say what you just said, then you can talk about paintball. What are you talking about? Did I say something bad? A reticle? What is that? We got a lot of first-time chatters in here, by the way. What hopper did you have? That's a fucking great thing. So I finally, this guy knows ball. I upgraded. I had a standard hopper. I didn't put a lot of money into the hopper at first. Then I got one of those ones that rotated constantly. You know what I'm talking about? Post-divorce paintball gun acquisition is a thing if you're an only child. That's fucking right, man. Little shoot 'em up, knows ball. But I did not, I can't remember if something like, I'm telling you, the accessories for your paintball gun was so cool. You would get like the longer thing to hold in the front. You would get like the trigger instead of the 1 trigger, it'd be the 2 trigger, then the 3 trigger. This shit was fun. This shit was a lot of fun. But what I realized is the laser, the scope, like you would have the red dot here and then you would shoot and the paintball would go that way. This thing was a fucking crock of shit. You know what I'm saying? I had the spider. The Spider Electra. That is it, brother. You fucking know ball. Hell yeah, Trife. That is awesome. Happy birthday, Jeff Sunday. Any plans to celebrate? No, no, I'm not really a big birthday guy. I'm not. I haven't been a big birthday guy probably since my 30th. And you know, the thing about birthdays, my wife is like, she always stresses herself out. I'm like, will you stop? We don't have to do anything for my birthday. And it's a pain in the ass. Trying to do anything in New York is a pain in the ass. You want to go to dinner? Good luck. Good fucking luck. You want to get a dinner reservation? Good luck. Anywhere you want to go, any night, any fucking time, packed, booked. I'm telling you, there's some shit going on, like with StubHub, which you ended up finding out, scumbags. Although I hope that I probably should be careful in case StubHub ever becomes a Book It sponsor. But I 39, by the way, Mr. Association, 39 is a shitty number. It's like nothing to be that excited about. But I remember, we're talking about StubHub. StubHub basically, like, they sold the tickets, but the guy started this company to buy all the tickets. So he would sell the tickets, but then he would buy all the tickets, and then he would resell them for a markup and a premium because it would be like exclusive. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, there's some funny business going on with the reservations in New York restaurants. Like, somebody's buying up all these reservations and then like selling them on the fucking black market. So I share a birthday with Grimace. That's very funny. So anyways, my wife always tries to like, oh, let's do something. I'm like, will you stop? I am a simple guy. You probably, everybody's, you know, the opinion of me is like, oh, you're so critical. You don't like anything, blah, blah, blah. How can we please you? I don't really want to do anything. I really don't. So my wife, she was like going crazy. Oh, we were going to go to Ashaval, you know, in the city. She got like a 615, which is really, yeah, I don't know. It's not, Ashaval is not like Fort Charles Prime. Like, you can get into Ashaval. I've never been, and they have a good burger. But I was like, don't go crazy. If we get one, we get one. Whenever she got this other Italian place she's been trying to get into. It's a really tough place to get into. She got one today at like 5:30. I was like, great. But I'm like, you know what? She's fucking exhausted. She's working hard. I got shit going on. I'm going to get a massage today. That's it. I'm going to get a massage, but not an enjoyable massage. I talk about this all the time. When you get older, you need deep tissue massages. You need massages that actually no pain, no gain. I don't want to just go up there like fucking, you know, get all lubed up and just get rubbed down. No, that's not what I want. Not for my back and my shoulders and my legs. You know what I'm saying? So I need not the Nuru. I need the deep tissue. So we found this lady, and you know, she has these obscure times and whatnot. So one of the times just so happened to be today in the afternoon, and I'm like, fucking put me down. That's how bad I need it. Only 60 minutes. My wife goes for 90. She's insane. I can't do that. That's too much. I'm moaning and groaning the entire, oh God. And this is weird. Usually when most people go get a massage, they don't want to talk. I don't really want to talk when I'm in an Uber. I don't even really want to talk when I get my hair cut, which, by the way, I do have to get my neck trimmed. Although I like the barber that I go to now. He's cool. But what's wrong with getting lubed up? Nothing's wrong with getting lubed up, but I'm saying I'm not going for an hour to get lubed up and just get like, no, I need, you know what I mean? That's what I need. You know what I mean? I gotta moan and I gotta groan, and there's gotta be pain so that there is gain, because my back hurts. But you didn't ask, but I started the day with a 2.5 mile run. No big deal. 9:46 pace. Pretty good for me. A small stretch of it was uphill by accident. That kind of sucked. You know, I probably could have got down to a 9:36 pace, but that hill killed me. 2.5 mile run. I listened to a podcast, not going to name any names, and no, it was not Barstool. Recapping and talking about SEC Media Day, so it got me really into the football spirit. But don't forget, people keep saying, "Oh, you gave baseball one week, blah blah blah." No, I'm still a baseball guy. I sat in front of the television and watched Michael King yesterday. I had a great fucking time. I watched the Rays again yesterday. Yeah, bro, needs a good massage after podcasting all day. You must be hella sore. Charmin Ultra Soft, my God. Linksy, I will tell you right now. By the way, this is not a podcast. This is a Twitch stream. It's a lot different. If you're podcasting, you're just sitting in a studio and you're talking at your own rate, at your own pace. If you're streaming with a live chat, I got to read and I got to engage with Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. All right? Linksy, you do this 2 hours a day for a week. I guarantee you will be bitching and moaning and crying up a fucking storm. Guarantee it. But no, that's not what I need a fucking massage for, obviously. I'm old and I don't stretch. I got bad posture. Give me a break. What a horrible chirp. Please tell me it's Big Russian Lady on the rundown. No. On the rundown? I don't even know who that is. But no, I want to talk to you about this shirt. So this is the thing. I don't really have good style. I'm not ashamed to admit that. You know who does? I don't know if he's still in here. I got to give Greg credit. Greg actually has pretty decent style. Greg's a good guy. Greg is a sponge. He's the biggest fucking idiot I ever met. But I don't know. Steak might be taking the number one spot with the recording himself while driving. Do you see what this guy is doing? Listen, I know it's all fun and games. I know everybody wants to. I know I know it's more fun to bust my balls than Steaks, and it's easier. It's like 95-5 ratio of like when Steak and I go at it. Let's get Steak side, guys. Please, I'm asking you. This is, you want to know what I want for my birthday? Stop letting Steak off the hook. Stop letting him off the hook. The Steak has a great group of friends. What I'm starting to realize is Steak has more yes guys than non-yes guys. Okay. We need people in his corner. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Joey Dumps. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Time of J. Yeah, I'm talking to both of you. You guys need to fucking tell Steak when he shouldn't do something. What is going on? I love this guy too. Doesn't mean we can't tell. You can't get in a fucking car, drive on the highway as a grown man, and put the phone in front of your face and start reviewing burgers and French fries from Cookout. You can't do that. I'm sorry. I'm not the asshole for saying that that's unacceptable. I'm just not. And I refuse to even fucking try to be accused of being that. And this guy, instead of just taking some accountability, he claims he's an accountability guy. I'd like to see it. He says, tell me how this isn't the same. Jeff Sunday's riding a bike in New York City, and he's putting a wager on. Motherfucker, I stopped. I fucking stopped. I stopped on the bike. I said, you know what? It was literally, I was just into my bike right now. I was like, I had a feeling Shea Langoliers is going to do something today. And I pulled out my fucking phone, stopped, put 2 units on the fucking RBI, which he didn't get, put $35 on the home run, which he didn't get, texted it, or I didn't even text, I tweeted it. I'm on my merry way. I get a tweet. I get a text that said, hey, I'm tailing from a guy at Pickett. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. Not even, no jinx, no bullshit, no nothing. I loved it. It was a $200 play. It's a big play for me. And Steak is like, hypocrite. You cannot be out there driving on the highway. We're not talking country back roads. And even if we are, it's still dangerous, dude. People will fucking walking their dogs and riding their bikes and shit. You got to pay attention. Steak's got to pay attention. And I'm telling you right now, you guys need to do a better job of holding him accountable. Stop letting this guy getting away with fucking murder. Stop it. Driving around the highway, recording yourself. Yeah, so I went to Cookout. It was a really good time. Let's see if I can get over. It was a really good time. Really good burgers. Why can't that wait? That's my point. Why can't that wait? Thank you. For fuck's sake. Yeah. And shout out T-Rain, by the way. T-Rain picks. I told you, he's doing him and straight locks, monkey bars on Steak scrotum. He called Steak out for banger hunting yesterday. Great job. But it's not okay. I'm sorry. And I told Steak this. That this is how you should talk to your friends. That is loser behavior. It's low IQ behavior. I love the guy. He's my best friend. I'd probably take a bullet. Probably. Not like, in the chest, but like maybe like in the, I don't know. Where's a decent place to take a bullet? But like, I don't want my best friend to do loser things. And vice versa. Tell me if I'm doing loser things. If recording myself fucking city biking is loser behavior and activity, I will consider and I will stop doing it. Done. Don't ride a city bike. It's dangerous. Okay. Meta glasses. There we go. Problem solved. See, that's being receptive to feedback. So it takes a village. It takes a fucking Twitch chat. Okay. You guys are a bad influence. All right. Listen, I like hanging out and talking sports and all kinds of bullshit with you guys. But at the end of the day, I understand fucking Clam Mucker 3000. I don't wear condoms. Probably don't care that much about serious things, but I do. And I need your support. All right. That's all I want. Thank you. Yeah. Can you make a call on live to Biev to ask what he thinks of Scotty's putting right now with his single bullet? No. I know. Barty Bar, I just like pissing you off. This is the thing. I know that. I am okay with that. I understand people like pissing me off. It's fun to piss me off. I'm okay with that. I get it. I like riling people up too. You know why I like riling up? BK. I love riling up BK. He's a fun guy to rile up. I get that. But we got to come together as a unit and stop Steak driving and recording himself on the highway and shame him. That's the best way to do it. Shame him. Steak, love you. You're a cool dude. Stop being a douche. Okay? That's douchey. All right. Anyways. No, listen. Everybody at some point texts and drives. Yeah, I'm not fucking perfect. I'm not trying to act like I am. But I really try not to. And the one thing I am guilty of is probably at a red light, I'll put my phone, I'll respond to a text, and then I'll get honked behind me because the light's green. You know what I'm saying? So, stop it. Anyways, let me just tell you about this shirt. Okay, let me tell you about this shirt. So, yeah, BK was on yesterday. Chef Timbo says, Clam Mucker's a good dude, though. I never say he's a bad dude. I'm just saying I need the right message and the right things coming from the people in the chat. And I guess I can't be too upset if Clam Mucker and I don't wear condoms one are not necessarily pushing that positive message, but I hope they do. Def does text and bike, though. He has scrapes to prove it. That is correct. Hand up. I thought I was in a safe place. I pulled out my phone to see what Steak said, and a car came out, and it was a good reminder. I have ridden thousands of miles in the city, tens of thousands of miles. I'm not exaggerating. Been city biking for years. Ever since they first came out, before the e-bikes, been city biking. I city biked up fucking Midtown, Murray Hill one time, and I realized, this is why they call it Murray Hill, because there's a hill. And I was sweating down my back into my ass, and I had to meet a client. I was dripping sweat. And I said, I no longer can do this. I'll go back to the train, or I'll go back to the bus. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, let me tell you about this shirt. Okay, I got a lot of compliments on this shirt. Let me say something. Auto Gelato, you're so close. When I went to see, I'm not like the biggest theme party guy, but I don't mind a theme party. Like, I went to a party once. My wife's friend had a party, and it was like a Snuggie party. And everybody dressed up as Snuggies. My friends made fun of me for it. That's fine. It was in my 20s, late 20s. It's whatever. But that's okay. I understand. I never did the Greek life in college. I was never in a fraternity. But there's pros and cons. I always kind of thought fraternities were kind of douchey, but also at the same time, looking back, it's a great way to meet people. And in life, especially if you're someone like myself that's not very intelligent, you have to survive on the connections that you've made. It's probably a great way to meet people and help you out later on in life. But I was always like, I don't need to pay for friends. And but let's be honest, like going to, what do they call them? Formals and shit, like doing stuff with fraternities and sororities. I mean, it sounds fucking great. Sounds pretty cool. But I was never the theme guy because it was like, oh, great. I want to go to so-and-so's party, but now I got to go to fucking Party City. Now I got to go to Target. Now it's just one extra step, and it's like, fuck, I just want to show up. You know what I'm saying? So, but later on in life, like when I went to Portugal, when I went to Europe, I got a fedora. I wore a fedora around Europe. Again, I got made fun of from my friends. Why are you wearing a fedora? I'm like, bro, I'm in Portugal. Like, let me just walk around in Portugal, drive a little fucking Vespa, and eat ice cream. I have a picture of it. I love it. You know what I mean? Like, I had a great time wearing a fedora around Portugal. But if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I do kind of like the theme and getting into character and having the vibe fit. Makes sense. This is my Bad Bunny shirt. That's exactly what this is. I've been to 2 Bad Bunny concerts. I saw him in Orlando and I saw him in Vegas. My wife's probably been to about 4. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to see Bad Bunny, I'm down to have a little fun. I like fun. People always say, oh, you're miserable. You don't like anything. Not true. I like to have fun. So my wife and I was like, let's go get a Bad Bunny shirt. Bad Bunny. That's right. Bad Bunny. So I went to, where do we go? I think this is from Urban Outfitters. Oh, I don't have any other hats that really fit my head well. Should I get it? Oh, you know what? I know what I got. Hold on. I got a good hat. The bucket hat's great, but if you're gonna bitch and moan, hold on. I'll be right back. Hold on. Let me get another hat. How's this? I mean, orange on orange. Hello? Orange on orange. Is that a little bit better? Much better. Okay, great. Yes, this is my Bad Bunny shirt. So I'm glad that you guys all like it. And I Chewy's probably not here, but he would probably like it too. I'm sure I wore this hat or this shirt rather at some point when we were streaming and Chewy was involved. Okay. So, anyways, again, W. Greg for the subs. We talked about paintball. We talked about what else did we talk about? We talked about shaming Steak to stop recording himself and driving. Oh, did you guys see my reaction video to Trent's goat whale? I thought it was great. But it's really just mainly great because his video is great. But goddamn, that video is so fucking funny. It just is. And you know what? Shout out to Phil Zutley. I don't know if Phil Zutley is in here. But, this is why it's good to have guys like Phil Zutley in your corner. 99 times out of 100, Phil Zutley is going. Why is my camera keeps focusing? I don't know why it's doing that. It's probably the hat. It's like, wow, your hat matching with your outfit is so good. It's hard for us to focus. 99 times out of 100, Phil Zutley is going to shit on you. And basically any hope that you had with something, he's going to tell you why you shouldn't have hope. You know what I mean? Like he's delivering bad news, but you need guys like this in your corner. You really do. My guy, Drew, again, one of my very close friends who I did the Raised Glaze with. I've been friends with this guy since middle school. He is an asshole. And he's been an asshole his entire life. Like sometimes I've gone to introduce him to people. I think even when I introduced him to Steak, I was like, hey, you're going to meet my friend Drew. He's going to come to the bar to watch football, whatever. You might not like him. You know what I mean? But like, those are the kinds of people that I like having in my corner. You know what I mean? And out of all the fucking people that come in and defend Trent with this video where I'm going over his goat whale, where 4 of the 5 guys just are not playing baseball. Again, if you forgot, they are Ronald Acuna Jr., Ellie De La Cruz, Roman Anthony, and Cole Reagans. And I just found it hilarious that it is that this goat whale doesn't even have guys who are not playing well. They're just not playing at all. And the only guy that is playing is Gunnar Henderson. And I'm not going to shit on Gunnar Henderson because Goots is here and he'll probably get upset. And we'll talk about the Orioles in a little bit. But then fucking Phil Zutley comes out of nowhere and he ends up being the 1 out of 100 times. He's the knight in shining armor for Trent. And you know what he tells me? He said, well, Ronald Acuna Jr. is a DNP. Cole Reagans is a DNP. Gunnar, it might hit because he's still playing. There's a lot of season left. And guess what? Ellie has 17 home runs, so he might hit. So apparently, Roman Anthony or Ronald Acuna Jr. might be a DNP. So there's like 3 DNPs. So maybe it's actually going to. I'm just like, this is amazing. This is amazing. That's why I love Phil Zutley. I don't know what happened. A fucking fly just came in here out of nowhere. So, anyways, thank you very much, everybody. Okay, Ellie is playing, but you are right that it's supposed to be a sweat. That's what was never there. That's kind of what I thought. Yeah. Is Drew the guy that was on during college football playoff? He might have been. Also, thank you very much, Tailing Dawes. Also, Drew is truly, if you think that I am good, I know, I get it. If you think I am good or Steak is good at talking sports or just talking in general, Drew was actually born to be like a radio guy, like talking sports. You're going to make fun of me for this, and that's fine. I know a lot of you are probably like, only chicks talk on the phone with their friends for a long time. Drew and I used to talk on the phone for like an hour. And you're like, what? I would go walk my dog. And, usually it's like a 30-minute walk. But I would call Drew during the walk. And if we were balls deep in talking about the fucking Magic or something, or, the Bucks, he's a Jets fan. Jets, Rays fan, Panthers fan, and a Miami Hurricanes fan. But if we're balls deep, Drew can talk about anything in a good conversation or a heated debate. We've gotten into some serious debates where we would text and talk every day. Sometimes we'd go 2-3 days without talking to each other because we would get into it. So, be so divisive. But my wife would be like, where were you? Because I'd be gone walking the dog for so long. And I'd be like, I was talking to Drew. So then it became this thing where it was like, before I'd go walk the dog, she's like, can you be back in 30 minutes? Like, if you talk to Drew, can you just not have an hour and a half conversation? So anyways, great debates, dude. Great debates. Like we would be talking about, he always called me, Believe it or not, actually, this is going to blow your fucking mind. Believe it or not, I used to be the man of optimism. I used to be the guy of optimism. He would always say, be like, oh, you always like everything and blah, blah, blah. I'd go see a movie and I would try to tell you why it was good, even though it wasn't that good. He's like, just stop liking everything. And I was like, all right, fine. So I'd be like, okay, fine. I wouldn't try to, put everything up on a pedestal, but I would always try to defend, the Rays. We would be like, I don't know, we'd be like 33-30, but we just won a game or whatever. And he'd be like, oh, you're all excited. We're going to have 72 wins. I'd be like, will you shut the fuck up? We're 3 games over at 500, blah, 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 blah. Same thing with the Magic too. And then he would always talk shit about Notre Dame and I would have to talk shit about the Hurricanes. So anyways, just friends busting chops and whatnot. Yeah, now I'm that guy for steak. Exactly. But I have been there before, for sure. I have been there before. But Drew's great. I'd love to get him on a little bit more. He's a corp dude. He's got a wife and kids as well. But he has made time to get on. He's great to talk ball. So we'll have him up a little bit more. He can talk about anything. He should have a radio show, honestly. Okay. Let's get into it. I know, Herna. That's fine. T Ryan, big 4-5. Have a day. No, not 4-5. 39. 39 is a very, very lame birthday. I'm not the biggest birthday guy, but thank you. I don't necessarily, you don't need to make a big deal about it or anything, but that's nice. 39 sucks. It just does. It's like every 5, the 35s, the 30, the 40, the big 50, whatever, but like 39 is just such a blah, So anyways, I will tell you this. Do you want a little bit of advice? Yeah. Here's what I will say. 40 is when shit gets real. I'll tell you what, I actually think shit's really started to get real at 38. Like I think back like 3 years ago, dude, like 30, I felt young. I did. I felt young. Well, see, this is interesting, Dawes. This is a really good question. What era was the best, 20s or 30s? I will say this. The 20s are really interesting. The 20s are great because it's like it's your youth. But here's the thing about the 20s. The 20s, when you're outside of the 20s, looking in on people who are in their 20s, it's got to be one of the more annoying decades of people's lives. And let me explain what I mean by that. People in their 20s think they know what's going on. They think they know. They think they're smart. They think they have their shit together. And even if they don't have their shit together, they think they're on the right path to get their shit together. And they think they know so much about the real world. This is why I used to bust Jeff Rose's balls. He's like 22 years old, 23 years old. And he would talk about like real world shit. And it's nothing I'm not picking on Jeff Rosa, but hearing 20-year-olds talk like they know what's going on is very funny to me because you really don't. You don't know shit. You just don't. And the thing is, it's kind of like when you try to apply to a job and they look for experience, I don't know if you guys have ever had to do this. Applying for jobs sucks. But when you apply for jobs, they look for experience. And let's just say you're right out of college, or let's say you've only worked like 2 years in something, but you feel like you're pretty qualified for whatever job you're applying for. And they say, oh, we want 5 years of experience. It's like, well, fuck, how do I can't force that. I just have to wait for it. That's right. You do. You do have to wait for it. You do have to wait for it. I will tell you right now, under the age of 25, you know absolutely nothing. You are still a moron. You might think you're not, but you are. And that's okay. It's a good thing. You could be a moron. You should enjoy being a moron. This is the thing. You should enjoy. When you are in your 20s, you should enjoy your youth. But people don't feel like they're in their youth. Nowadays, and this saying drives me insane, people say things like, oh, bro's pushing 30. Brother. Bro's pushing 30? So what does that mean? You're 27, 28, 29? So you're saying that like that's a bad thing. Well, what's better? Oh, you're pushing 20? You kidding me? 17, 18, 19-year-olds? Total fucking morons. Total morons. I want nothing to do with them. Nothing. But the 27, 28, 29-year-olds, this is where you finally start because it like hits you. You're like, oh shit, I'm going to be 30. And something happens where you're like, you look back and you're like, where the fuck did my 20s go? Your 20s go like this. They really do. But here's the thing. The 20s are where you start to like experience things for the first time. Obviously, you're old enough to drink. You can rent a car. You start maybe fucking buying flights. You start going on guys trips. You know what I mean? You might not have money. You're putting shit on a credit card. You're staying at shitty hotels or whatever. But let me tell you something. I'm not even the smartest when it comes to like being financially responsible or anything like that. And this is one thing. Again, my dad tried to emphasize having good credit, and I never really listened to him. I fucked my credit up, but I never really saved. I never played around in the stock market until a little bit later. I was like, you know what? Blah, blah, blah. First stock I ever bought, Twitter. That's right. First stock I ever bought, Twitter. I think it was like maybe like $12 or $13. And then when it got acquired, it like sold at 54. I think I did pretty well on Twitter. Anyway, it's not the point. The point is this: when you get into your 30s, that's actually, in my opinion, where you really start to have a good time. You do. Now, I think 40s are good. I'm not dreading my 40s. I'm not dreading my 40s. But in your 20s, here's the beautiful thing. Everything is still fresh. Your muscles are fresh. Your brain is fresh. I'm serious. You think I'm joking around? You could just roll out of bed after a night of drinking and go play basketball with your friends. Do you know how hard that is at 39? It is near impossible. It is near impossible. Now it has to be a whole thing. I have to be calculated. If I want to go play basketball with my friends, what time am I playing? Okay, what time am I going out the night before? How many drinks am I going to have? I can't have more than X amount of drinks. I got to make sure I get X amount of sleep. You know, you have to stretch. You have to. I would wake up, dude, like the 20s are kind of a gigantic blur because unfortunately I do like to go out. I do like to drink. You had a great time. You make some memories and whatnot, but the 30s is where you really start to have a good time. And if you can, you save up a little bit of money. I'm telling you, this is where you start to creep into like, ooh, you know, what was that saying? Who was that guy, Chris Rock, where he was like, not to talk about politics, but you know, like fine. He was like, oh, I finally start making a lot of money. He's like, now you don't want to pay taxes. Or maybe it was Chappelle or something like that. You finally start to get in your 30s, you make a little bit of money and you're like, oh, it's kind of nice. You know, it's kind of nice. And I know Biev is like, oh, Jeff got money, blah, blah, blah. Listen, everybody's definition of getting money is a little bit different. I am so far from being as comfortable as I want to be. You know what I mean? And I don't really have any excuses. I have myself to blame. Could always work a little bit harder. I could have applied myself a lot more. If I could go back, I still am not the guy that thinks like you have to go to college. You know, I really don't think you have to go to college. You know what I think you have to do? I think you need real world experiences. That's what I think. I think you need real world experiences and you need self-awareness and you need to know how to communicate and build relationships with people. Like, that's what I think. Because I dabbled with community college. And I sat there in a humanities class and there's some fucking artifact with 3 tits that we're observing and writing down. Oh, what could this be? I'm like, this is stupid. You know, I'd rather be working right now. I'd rather be working. Legitimately, I got up and left. I walked out of college in a humanities class looking at an artifact with 3 tits. And I was like, I'd rather go sell fucking phones at Nextel right now, make a couple $100 and then go buy some Xbox games. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I thought about. But in my opinion, it like the actual, somebody told me this. So it's a mutual friend of ours with Greg, mutual friend, smart guy, very smart. He went to Dartmouth. He told me, he said there's 7 different types of intelligence. I think it's true. Like there can be somebody who's read all the fucking books and passed all the tests in school. You know what I mean? On paper, looks great. But you get out there in the real world and nobody really likes you or you're not really doing that well. You know, there's a lot of variables into life, in my opinion, into being successful. And I'm not like necessarily content. I always think I could be a better version of myself. We all could, right? But in my opinion, in your 20s, shouldn't really care about that just yet. Like you should have some fun. That's what I think. You should have some fun. You should take advantage of your youth and your freshness. When you get into your early 30s, that is where, in my opinion, 33 years old, that's when you should start to get a little serious. Like turn up the serious meter. That's what I think. You know, that's what I think. Like if I look back, everybody looks back in their life and it's like, oh, what could I have done different? Blah, blah, blah. I still wish I applied myself a little bit more in school. Like I did well in middle school, but then I started smoking tons of pot every day. My freshman year of high school, every day. Shit, like the shit $10 bags of weed. Disgusting. You know, disgusting. Listening to fucking Bone Thugs and Harmony every morning. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. NERD. But I still think like you should try to be intelligent so that it helps you in real world things later on in life. When I started sending emails, I realized the grammar in my email looked fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Seriously, people call me grammar Nazis and stuff right now. Yeah, because you know what? That is where I actually rolled up my sleeves. I was like, okay, you know what? How about this? I got a little self-respect for myself and just etiquette and how you play ball. Like life is kind of like golf. I'm not saying you got to go, everybody's got to be a country club, snobby nosed motherfucker, but like wear a collared shirt, wear a collared shirt. Don't go out there with a fucking douchey ass hat that says egg salad. You look like a fucking moron. So yeah, capitalize the first letter in your fucking sentence. Don't put a space before the period. You know how much that drives me insane? A space before the period. Like how fucking lazy and stupid can you be? I didn't know the difference between your and your. I figured it out. Hey, which one's the right your? You are. Oh, apostrophe R-E. Okay. I used to text you are. I used to text and type like that. I stopped doing that so that I would get the right your, so that when I wrote fucking emails to adults who want to do business in the real world, they wouldn't think I'm a moron. Have a little respect for yourself. The right there. T-H-E-I-R. T-H-E-R-E. T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. Figure it out. The right it's. I-T apostrophe S. I-T-S. Figure that out. I had a 2.4 GPA in high school. I got by the skin of my fucking nuts. Hardly passed economics. Hardly passed Spanish 2. What did I get on my SAT? A 1080? All of it was math. All I did in the English version. All I did. I'm not kidding. I read the first sentence and I read the last sentence and I just guessed. I hated reading and reading comprehension. Guess what? I suck at reading comprehension still. I don't like reading books, but I love reading articles. I do. I love reading articles. But in my opinion, there are just certain things in life where you have to get a little serious. You know what I mean? Take the SpongeBob Crocs off. Take the pajamas off when you go out in public. Take the fucking jewel out of your mouth for a second and just figure out that your grammar should be a little high and tight. You know what I'm saying? Put the fucking $sign before the number, for the love of God. You know what I mean? And just communicate like a normal, decent human being. Is that so hard? So you do that. You do that in your early 30s. You know what I'm saying? But then you get to your late 30s, like myself. And you want to know what gets important at this stage in your life? Let me tell you what gets important. Your health. Your health gets important. And I'm not healthy. And I'm a bit of a hypocrite because like I dabble in being healthy, but then I dabble in not being healthy. And I dabble in not being healthy a little bit more because I like bad shit. I like bad shit. I do. I like bad shit. I like to drink. Sorry. Am I an alcoholic? No, far from it. But I like to drink. I could legitimately have a beverage almost every night. I wanted to go to the bar and have a drink yesterday. I did. I didn't. I wanted to, but I didn't. But it's hard. It's hard. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you, like, this is the dorkiest shit in the world. But I'm telling you, I observe people. I observe human beings. And I see people who are older than me and they're in great shape. And I just think to myself, I'd like to be like that. I bet it's nice to not. I'm 39 years old. I'm complaining about a back. I got some guy in Twitch making fun of me. Like, all you do is podcast and you're sore. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Yeah. That's not good. You know what I mean? You got to stretch. I'm telling you, stretching is so fucking important, but also like eating well is very important. And that's where I need to get a lot better. That's where I need to get a lot better. Also later in life, your sleep. I realize getting poor sleep really affects everything you do. You know what I mean? Your mood, your attitude, how you perform day to day and shit like that. So anyways, all I can say is this. If you're in your 20s, just accept that you don't know shit. You don't know anything. I'm sorry. What was Jeff Rose's thing that I got on him on? Oh, he was like, oh, yeah, Austin's great. I think he said this. And again, I like Jeff Rose. I met him in person. He's a nice kid. But somebody on the stream, thankfully, I don't know if it was Biev at the time or someone, he was like, what do you know about Austin? And Jeff was like, well, it's in Texas. Yeah. You ever been? You know what I mean? I've been to Austin 3 times. I'll tell you right now, you want a hot take? Austin kind of blows. Austin kind of blows. It does. You know what Austin is? Austin is like fucking, I don't know. It's like Tulum. Remember when everybody started going to Tulum? Gotta go to Tulum. Everybody's on, oh, why? Everybody on Instagram is going to Tulum. I swear, Austin is like one big fucking magnet store where it says keep Austin weird. And it has a mural where you take a picture and everybody's like, oh, I want to move there. Fuck Austin. I'm sure outside the downtown area is not bad. I like Texas. But I don't know. Yeah. All I know is I don't know. This is a really, really good saying right here. This is a really, really good saying. You know, you don't know what you don't know. And let me tell you this. You want to know what's fascinating to me? This is the really interesting thing. Because you have to understand something. I'm like the first wave in when you work in real estate in a place like New York City. Think about this. This is fascinating. I see the types of people that are moving here from all over the planet. Not the country, the planet, dude. Everywhere are coming to New York City. And I see these changes in behaviors. And this is one thing I'm not kidding that definitely annoys me. And I deal with younger people because I still help people find apartments that rent. They're out of college or young professionals. A lot of people come here and they act like they know everything, and they just don't. They don't know everything. They act like they're so fucking smart, and they're just not. And in the back of my head, I always say, I can't wait for this city to just smack you in the face. I just can't wait. And we'll check in 2 or 3 years to see if you're still here. It's probably going to be a pretty good chance you're not, because it's a big dose of reality. But here is the thing, and this is the unfortunate thing, and I don't really know what to attribute this to. People's not necessarily, like, social skills are getting a little bit worse. But here is the biggest issue I have with what I've experienced a lot. A lot of people don't prioritize treating other people with respect anymore. And that's what I don't like. That is the biggest thing I don't like. They are, do you know what the term social climber is? Do you know what that is? A social climber? Like, someone will just climb over you to get ahead. Like, everybody, I understand this is a dog eat dog world. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's in it for themselves. Everybody's in it for themselves. But at the end of the day, you could still treat people with respect. You can treat others how you want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people truly, this is what I can just see it in their eyes. They either look down on you or they look through you. And they just truly do not give a fuck about you at all. They just want to make sure they get ahead for themselves. That's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm telling you, this is like kind of a disease that's spreading more and more. And that's all anybody really cares about. And you start to really realize it. Because, like, most of the time on a screen, you know, a YouTube video, a TikTok, or whatever, you'd be like, oh man, this person seems like a really good person. But that's why I always say you got to withhold judgment until you meet someone in person for the most time, because then, or behind the camera, because then you can get to tell if they're a good dude or not, you know, or dudette. Facts, Jay Thorpe. What did I say? What did Jay Thorpe say? Cloud is a hell of a drug. That's a really good way to, that's a really good way to say it. Yep. You have Southern mannerisms while in your work. Mr. Association, that is a great way to put it. This is why Steak makes no sense to me. He's like, I can't tell you're from Florida. Steak is so dumb sometimes. He just is. And this is the thing. He always says, you sound like my wife. You know what his wife tells him? He's not observant. You know how many people tell me, oh, you might not be from here because I'm courteous. You know, I'm courteous. I don't know that I'm kind, but I'm not like soft. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of an asshole. Oh, that's the other thing. You want another thing? You want another bit of advice? And then we'll actually start talking about sports. I do have to pee. I'm with my wife. She's looking hot as fuck. Hilarious. But bro isn't observant. Yeah. Good morning. Is this my therapist or my degenerate? Yeah, that's true. Last thing that I will, I'll tell you. This is a bit of advice. When you are working with someone, I'm telling you right now, because this happened to me. When I got to New York, I was still like, I'm going to kill everyone with kindness. Like, I'm a nice guy. I work hard, blah, 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 blah. I would meet people, and again, they're usually people with money, who were just straight up assholes. Straight up fucking assholes. Just rude. Short. Didn't care for small talk. And I didn't adapt. I just still tried to be myself whenever, and it did not work. And I was like, man, what the fuck is going on? Why is this person such an asshole? And then one day it just clicked because I had enough. I was a couple years into New York and a couple years into the business. you got to get to someone's level from time to time. And I'm not talking about like necessarily if it's crossing a line of being like super rude, you know what I mean? But if you ever try to interact with an asshole, you got to be an asshole back. And I'm telling you right now, that'll open them up. If somebody's fucking rude to you, I'm rude to him right back. Hey, Mr. So-and-so, how you doing? Hey, you know? So the next time I greet him, hey, that's it. Not even how's your day? Nothing. Hey, that's it. And then they're like, whoa, what is this? If you ever meet an asshole in life, you give them the asshole treatment right back. I'm telling you, don't try to just keep being nice. Keep being nice. You're going to be a punching bag. Be a punching bag. You got to fight fire with fire. That's the best way to put it. Yeah, especially in sales. Exactly. Because I mean, I'm kind of always selling in all any job I've ever worked with. If I'm trying to work with somebody and they are being a dickhead to me, well, guess what? When I talk to them, instead of asking for something, I tell them I need it. You think this sounds so stupid? I'm dead serious. You tell them you need it. Hey, sir, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, the management company is asking if you can send, 2 more months of bank statements. Oh, why do they need that? No. Hey, Doug, we need 2 more months of bank statements or you're not going to get it. That's it. Boom. Nope. It is what it is. That's another one too. I hate this fucking saying, but you just got to hit it. That's elite advice. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Yep, you're spinning. Wow, it sounds like a lot of you guys know ball. Had boss one time walk by me and I said hi and they didn't. I got up, raised my voice and said, hello. They both look like holy shit. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit more. I would just ignore motherfuckers. You know what I mean? I would ignore motherfuckers. I had this guy too. I had this manager. He told me, he was like, never talk to anybody about the weather. Seriously. Talk about the weather. This is why I got to read fucking articles and shit and stay tapped into like local city fucking politics and like what's going on and stuff like that. You know, when Alan Dims makes fun of me, is like, you didn't watch Bowling Green last night? I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I got to watch the fucking news. I got to know what's going on. When I meet clients, like affluent clients, I can't be like, man, this is 60 degrees feels so nice, doesn't it? You know what they immediately think if you start talking about the weather? You got nothing else to talk about. You're a moron. That's serious. That's serious. You know what I mean? Yeah. It is. It is. Not the mainstream, not the city, the local news. The local news is a shot of life. You'd be surprised how much fucked up shit is going on within a 10, 15-mile radius of where you live. It's good perspective. Seriously. If you need that in your life, watch the local news. I'm telling you. It's great. If you need therapy, watch the local news. Like, holy shit, I'm not kidding. You'll turn on the news. You'll see a fucking a driver just drove off the side of the road and drove into somebody's fucking living room. Hit some fucking 90-year-old grandmother. Think about that. Every day you wake up, did somebody drive into your living room? It's good perspective. You know what I mean? All right, I'll take a quick piss and we'll start talking some sports. Check. Also, that is something you realize too when you get older. Well, one thing you realize when you become an adult is that a lot of other adults love to pretend like they have their shit together. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are really fucked in the head. But another thing too, because in all seriousness, like the cocaine thing is a very funny joke. The fact that I don't do cocaine, but it like the joke is like, oh, Jeff loves cocaine. Oh boy. When you get older, it is mind-blowing how many people actually do it. Maybe it's a New York City thing. New York, Miami, LA. I was just like, everywhere you go, every time you go out to a restaurant or a fucking club or a bar, you go into a bathroom and somebody's coming out. What? Can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? So that's why I always say it is really a funny joke. It's like, I tried it. I just don't like it. Like the act of doing it. Motherfucker, hold on. Oh, shit. Whole street's backed up. No, not an accident. No, it's not an accident. It's double parking. If you guys know what double parking is, it's like there's cars parked on the left side of the street. There's cars parked on the right side of the street. There is one lane basically for cars. Well, when a car wants to park, they get as close as they can to the parked car. They stop, they get out of their car. Maybe they have to run something in, delivery driver, whatever. And then what happens is most cars can go around that double parked car. But what happens is sometimes there's a truck. Sometimes there's a bus. In this case, there's a big fucking truck going down this street. And there is a car double parked ahead of them. So they're trying to honk to get the attention of like, you're in this building somewhere. You know what I mean? Get your ass out here and move this fucking thing. So anyway, all right. Let's go to trying to do a show here. Let's talk ball. All right. So we don't really have much going on today. I got Krabs and Jovan coming on, which I'm really looking forward to. We're going to talk some football. They're going to come, I believe, at 11:30. There is a BTL today. Do not ask if there's going to be a yap today. Okay. Just assume there's going to be a yap today, which by the way, I heard Rav, talking about, it's so funny. He said for 9 months of the year, Rav, are you in here? Rav said for 9 months of the year, he's an ass in Dallas. But then for 3 months of the year, he travels and go visits family and friends, etc. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. It's great. You want to take the summer off? A lot of people in my business take the summer off. Pro sports bettors take summer off. Or you want to work and take weekends off. These summer Fridays, it's a real thing. That's totally fine. But it's the goddamn summer. It's the 3 months that you travel. So what the fuck? How the fuck am I in the wrong? Because I ask if there's a fucking yap. How am I in the wrong? How? See, this is the thing. This is the thing. I'm not perfect. Just want to make that very clear. I'm not perfect. But it's just my opinion. What I would do is I would say, oh, Jeff's always asking if there's a yap. Maybe I would take a look at the why he would ask that. Well, because sometimes at 2:00, Thursday and Friday, he'll have his AirPods in, walking around, city biking, whatever. And 2:03 will come by and there's no yap. Was there any announcement made? Was there a tweet? Was there an announcement? No. So how can I prevent Jeff from asking if there's going to be a yap? I'll start making an announcement when there's no fucking yap. That's what I would do, personally. So I don't really think I'm in the wrong there. Just want to say that. They're a cook it with Chelly tomorrow. No, I have no idea. I like Chelly though. He's a nice kid. Also, I think he did used to do cooking streams on Book It, which would have been good. Rad, no, I don't think Rav's sensitive. I really like Rav. I think everybody's a little sensitive in their own way, shape, and form. Biev's got a sensitive side to him. I don't think Trent's that sensitive. Obviously, you have to have a thick skin to deal with all the shit that he deals with. But, he's probably got a little soft spot as well. I don't really think I would label Rav as sensitive. All right, let's just quickly recap yesterday. Pirates won game 1, 5-3. I believe that was that the Max Fried or the Garrett Cole start? Either way, they split this series. Boston won the first game against Baltimore 6-3. I think this was the Jake Bennett game. I got my eyes on him for a little bit. That guy is a fucking stud. Christian Scott did not pitch all that well yesterday. I talked about it. And I don't know if he went over his strikeouts. He had 6 strikeouts. He had 4 hits. He only made it 3 2/3, though. That's not very good. He had 3 walks, 3 earned runs, but he did have 6 Ks. I said, hold me accountable. If I don't stand on business, I think I said I would have taken strikeouts, and I did not. The Brewers won another scrappy game. God, they're just so good. The Royals came back and beat the Giants yesterday. Willie Adames came through for his hits, runs, and RBIs. He did not hit a home run. I went to CJ Abrams. He was written down here. Adames and Abrams. He did not hit a home run, but I believe he went through his over his hits, runs, and RBIs. And how about the Washington Nationals? My God, 14 hits, 8 runs. 2 games over 500. We'll talk about that a little bit with Krabs and Jovan. What I want to do is I want to talk about, like a little MLB state of our favorite teams, some trade potentials, because apparently the Rays are going to be really aggressive. And then some NFL. I want to get an idea of, what Krabs thinks about the Commanders, what Jovan thinks about the Bucks, and maybe talk about the division. So 30 minutes is actually perfect when they come on. And then obviously they got a show to do as well. So I don't want to take up too much of the talking points from their show. Again, that's, in my opinion, not to glaze myself, that's called self-awareness, and being having a little courtesy, in my opinion. Spread it. All right. How about we spread it? Okay. Arizona 15-5. Yeah. Lost my large wager again. I took fucking Shea Langoliers to have an RBI. He had 2 hits. He had 1 run. He did not have an RBI. I'm done. Forever? No. But I'm done. I'm $1,000 on England, $235 on Shea, $150 on Lamine Yamal. I'm just done. No more large wagers. I can't hit them. And I'm not blaming anybody but myself. Anytime I hone in on a bet and increase my unit size, it loses. So I don't know what to do. Pacavelli resubbed for 32 months and said, Trent, give me 500 PP coin. All right, I'll let Trent handle that. Seattle, and this was kind of unfortunate. I think I got the total at 8 here. I like the over in this game. I played it. I should check my picket, actually. Hold on, I'm logged in. Was this a push or a loss? Calendar. God, I'm getting my ass kicked again this month. Fuck. I'm so sick of losing. Oh, God damn it. Wait a minute. Oh, I pushed. I thought it'd say 8.5. I pushed. I got an 8. CJ Abrams hits, runs, and RBIs. Yep, got that. Willie Adames hits, runs, and RBIs. Got that. Oh, Jazz Chisholm. Fuck ass hoe. Bro didn't do shit. I played the Angels again. They lost 1-0. I knew getting greedy was going to fuck me. Oh, how about the Twins? I knew this was coming. Oh, I bet the Twins team total 2 days ago. What did they do? They scored 2 runs, lost. Next day, 10 runs. I just fucking knew it. The same thing happened with the Cubs. Just fucking knew it. God. Dodgers and Phillies. It was always the Phillies. I mean, it was always the Dodgers. Dodgers scored some runs too. They beat up Nola. 11 hits, 9 runs. The Yankees won the second game of the doubleheader 2-0. Low scoring game, obviously. 5-3. Not much going on in that one. How about the Rays? How about the fucking Rays? Griffin Jacks pitched well again, but this isn't about the Rays. This is about the Blue Jays. Talked about this. I'm not going to keep hammering the Blue Jays. I really genuinely feel bad for the Blue Jays. I know my buddy Ian McMillan thinks I'm joking. I'm not, really not. It's a sad watch. I enjoy having the Rays up on the screen. I enjoy watching the Rays win. I didn't really enjoy them beating up on the Blue Jays. I just didn't. It feels bad. So Blue Jays going to be sellers. Maybe we'll talk about that, like I said, when Jovan comes up here with Krabs, and we'll see. All right. How's your Goots? Let's go ahead and glaze Goots for a minute real quick. Let's glaze these Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles, you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say some good things about a couple of people. That's what I'm going to do. All right? That's what I'm going to do. First of all, I will tell you that I was listening to the Yap yesterday. I had a 3:30 appointment, so it actually worked out well up until that time. When I was heading on in, and I stopped, and I got a little afternoon pick me up. I was listening, and you know what? I actually thought that was some vintage Trent. Listening to him sweat wagers was great. That is the book it with Trent that we know and love. And I know he's got other things going on, which is great. You should be versatile. You know, if you're a running back, you're not just going to run. You can catch the ball out of the backfield. You can block. You know what I mean? Do the cards, do the golf. But listening to Trent sweat the MLB.com, and asking for in-play runs or in-play no out, that was great. Like that's fun. That's fun to listen to a game and follow a game and wonder what's going on. And it's like, I don't even know who was up to bat, but he's like sweating in play out. And then he would bitch when it didn't happen, or he would bam, 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 bam when it did happen. So that was great. I really enjoyed it. They did a great job. Also, I gotta give Goots credit, because Goots, when he gives an Orioles player, he tends to be on the right side of them. The guy knows his team. He knows his team. Is he a biased fan? Sure. But I think he gave him Pete Alonso hits, runs, and RBIs. He had a double. He got a run. It's a great job. Great job. So that was fun. That was fun. But then Baltimore wins the second game. They get up early in this game and never looked back. So good job to the Orioles. They came into the series on a 7-game winning streak. They're feisty. They're feisty. I don't know if they're going to be buyers or sellers. I don't know what they're going to do, but they are feisty. And I really, really respect the fact that they knocked off the Red Sox. It is not easy to do, and held them to 1 run and 5 hits. Great job. Not kidding. Great job. And Snacks was in my DMs. He was upset with my Kyle Bradish take. Goots is upset with my Kyle Bradish take. Sure. Fine. If you want to accuse that of being a little bit of a bit, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I still obviously have a disdain for the Orioles. They're still a rival of the Rays, and I thought my rant was pretty good. I thought there was some truth to it of the Orioles paying for Baz, extending Bradish, and everything like that. But I get it. Bradish was an all-star. He's pitched very well. He did great yesterday. Good job on him. Atlanta and San Diego. So I took. My laptop is. Should be fine. I took Michael King yesterday. I like Michael King. I'm a Michael King guy. I watched Michael King pitch. I watched almost that entire game while I was putzing around the apartment, just tidying up and whatnot. I love Michael King. I really do. And let me tell you something right now. What's up, Quantitative? Thank you very much for the shirt compliment. You missed a pretty good stream, I think, but you really also didn't miss anything at the same time. We just talked a bunch of nonsense. So let me ask you guys a question, because I had this thought. I'm going to put it out to Twitter and see what everybody has to say. I think, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a baseball guy. I started thinking this last year when I was betting on and against pitchers. I think betting on pitcher props, strikeouts, outs, hits allowed, like not really anything specific. I think it's one of the most fun wagers in all of sports betting. And I think that, like the NBA, for example, a lot of its viewership is dependent upon people betting on player props, assists, PRA, everything like that. Like, I get it. The guy's out there. It's fun. You run around for a rebound. You want him to assist, passing the rock. Like, that's fun to sweat. When you have a pitcher prop, I get it. Half the game he's not pitching, so it's like you're not sweating anything. But when your guy is pitching, so in this case, I had Michael King. I had under hits allowed. I had the first 5 team total, Atlanta Braves. I had over 5.5 strikeouts. If I had to give you one thing, I didn't have the outs. He ended up getting there. But I would say the outs is probably the most fun bet to sweat. Every pitch matters. Every pitch. I mean, it's like everything matters. It is so fun the entire time. And I would argue, I would go to bat and say that is the most fun bet to sweat, pitcher props. I might make a tweet about it. We'll see. Trent pulled a 10K Ohtani doing the breaks yesterday. My God, good for him. Thank you, Quantitative. Brian Baker has been nailed for the Rays. Yeah, he has. I thought he was a plant from the Orioles when he first came on. People probably don't forget. I do. Or I don't. People probably forget. I said that like a moron. People probably forgot. I didn't. Baker came in when he got traded, and they put him in against the Red Sox, and he blew the game. They had like a 2 or 3 run lead, and he blew the game. Now he's one of the best closers in baseball. Smell you later, Fairbanks. Not his though. Oh, that is hilarious. So anyways, I loved watching Michael King yesterday, and he walked the first 3 batters of the game. It was unbelievable, but he got out of it. One little grounder, brought in a run, and then he struck out the next 2. And the people on the commentators were talking about how Michael King is like a perfectionist, which you could see, like he's got things running around. I love his pitch mix. I love his sweeper. He's like 31, 32. He's not too old. I would make a move for Michael King. I hope the Rays do. White Sox won 4-2. Scrappy bunch. Tigers win 5-1, and the Houston Astros. Is that a sweep? Yeah, the Nerfy's fun, but I don't know about that. Thank you very much, Trent. Appreciate it. I was just glazing you, by the way. I thought you did a great job on the show yesterday, because the Yap to me, the way I think about the Yap is it's a work in progress, but it's got a lot of potential. I enjoy it. I obviously I've told you I think it's brain rot for a good chunk of it, where I'm like, maybe I am a little too old to listen to this. But I thought in the dog days of summer, like I think the app is going to get, obviously every show is going to get better with football because it's easier to talk about football every day. Right now is very hard. There's the least amount of sports going on. It was vintage Trent, in my opinion. Just making sure you hear this. Hearing you sweat out in-play runs or in-play no outs yesterday. That was very fun. So keep it up. All right. Marlins have lost 9 in a row. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Snidesy, we are going to talk NFL with Krabs and Jovan here in 15 minutes. Let's talk about today's board. Well, first, let me see what's going on in the golf. Grillo is up there, 5 under. Lee Hodges, Jake Knapp. Wow, look at that, 3 under. Okay. Oh, we got a game in fucking in like an hour. San Diego Padres and Atlanta Braves. All right. Let's talk, ladies and gentlemen. What do you guys like? What do you not like? I'm going to pull up the baseball nerd stats. And we got Kyle Hart going. I feel like that name sounds familiar against Chris Sale. Oh, boy. Yeah, not much going on. This actually works out perfect. I mean, I get it. Listen, I ramble and I yap, and if you don't want to listen to me, you can just leave. That's the beauty of this stuff. But I do, for the most part, because a lot of people, like the haters and the critics, will be like, oh, man, Jeff loves to hear himself talk. Not really. I just can't. I can't. I can talk about anything. I think for the most part, you guys like hearing about like real life stuff. And I'm not a guru. I'm not fucking telling you what you should or shouldn't do necessarily. I'm just kind of sharing experiences. I think for the most part, you guys like that every now and then. And not even with just me, with Steak too. So if you don't, you can let us know. But I think for the most part, the whole reason I think we kind of yapped for like that first hour was people enjoyed it. If you didn't, you can let me know. I'm open to feedback. Damn, the slate is trash, but it's a good to take advantage. Yeah. Okay. Well, the Braves are minus 245. The total is 8. I am not getting involved, but I will tell you this. I know that these teams' bats have been good and they've been scoring some runs. I thought maybe that an 8 with Sale on the bump seems a little bit high, but maybe it doesn't. By the way, one thing I noticed when King was going through that lineup for the Braves are just, they are a tough batch of dudes to get out. Like Olsen, by the way, nobody really talks about this. Olsen's like batting stance, he's a lefty, is like really intimidating. Everybody notice this? He kind of just like stands over the plate. Did everybody notice Matt Olson's batting stance? Kind of scares the shit out of me. He's an intimidating figure in the batter's box. Albies is a weird one. He like fucking leans all the way back, which is kind of interesting. But the Braves are scrappy. I'm going to stay off of this. I have no real thoughts on it. Gavin Williams going against Taj Bradley should be a pretty good pitching matchup here. I think Gavin Williams is really good. You know how I feel about Taj, obviously. I'm not over here, necessarily praising Taj and think that he's going to go out there and shove. But I think he's going to pitch well. I think he's been pitching better. His ERA is down to 3.87. He started really well. He started to regress. Yeah, he looks like an avatar at bat. Christian does it. That's a very, very good way to put it. Yeah. Taj Bradley, 50 plate appearances, batting 271, expected is 210. The K rate against the Guardians is 36%. Did you guys hear that? Seriously. Did you guys fucking hear that? 36% K rate against the Guardians? That's crazy. Gavin Williams, 116 plate appearances. The Twins are batting 213, expected 233. The ex-WOBA for both these guys is low. K rate's 26%. Joe Ryan just got shelled. Yeah. The only thing I guess I will say now that I'm kind of wondering is, do you think that this is an obvious under? Because I have had some success fading these obvious unders. I'm not going to go that far to say that it's an obvious under, but I will at least maybe say that this could be one where you don't realize it, but you walk into a bar, the game's on, and you start rubbing shoulders, having conversations with people, and you realize everybody's on the under, and it's like an 8-3 game. Jose Ramirez is back. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep moving. The Rays play at 3:00. Bieber's going. Bieber's been great. Lejumina. I don't really know much about this guy. I actually think it's kind of interesting that the Rays are minus 109. And I know that the Blue Jays are bad, but Shane Bieber's he came back from an injury. Didn't start off that great, but he's coming off of a pretty good game, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. Great fucking job. You sure did. I remember that. Well done. Hold on one second. What did those say, by the way? I just turned 27 yesterday. I needed that, Jeff. Appreciate it. Love to hear that. We have the Elks playing tonight. I don't even know what that is. Trent, he says, as a 22-year-old, and I love it. Wow. I love to listen to Jeff talk about anything other than sports. That's a pretty funny insult. Yeah, I mean, I can't even really push back on that. I have been so bad at gambling for the last year and a half, 2 years. By the way, you like how I feel like I keep saying I've been bad for a year and a half, 2 years. Next thing you know, it's gonna be like 5 years of being a shit gambler. But I'm just gonna keep saying, man, the last year and a half, 2 years have been bad. That's good. That's a tactic right there. That's hashtag marketing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, you've been bad for a little bit, but you haven't been bad for that long. But yeah, I don't know. I think I just have to accept I'm a shit better, which is unfortunate. Okay. Cleveland's minus 145. I have nothing on this. Fuck, kind of like the Twins. Not going to take him, though. Rays and the Blue Jays at 8.5. Yesterday was a low-scoring game, 4-2. I don't know what to think about this one. I don't. Jonathan Aranda, cold dude, unfortunately. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. It's a bummer. Did you follow me in 2022? It is a bummer. And you know what the unfortunate thing is? I think that the critics would probably say, like, part of the reason that I've become so shit at gambling is that maybe I've like started to fuck around a little bit more. But I've ran that through the algorithm. I just don't really think that's true. I think I used to fuck around just as much. I mean, back in the days when people were literally, I am not exaggerating, I would have people on the weekends, 10 DMs asking what I liked in games. People actually were like, what the fuck is the degenerate on? I could not believe it. I started one NFL season 13-0. Couldn't believe it. I think I started one college football season 36-17. I had a 40-15 run in college basketball. Have to be sharp to tell lean sheet. Exactly. That's when I got a gambling Twitter. Oh, very cool. Do you guys check out on Thursday travel day? I don't know what that means. Funny thing is 99% of the world is shit at gambling. No, I know. But like, I mean, dude, the slogan that I had for the streams was like educating the average gambler. I had to remove that. I just had to, winning units as a unit. Well, you can't keep saying winning units as a unit when you start losing. You can't saying educating the average gambler when you start losing. You just can't do that. Stopped using his models and systems. Yeah, no shit. Steg is objectively a better gambler than you, at least at baseball. Well, listen, I have always said before you guys even knew who he was that Steg is the best sports bettor that I know. I'm not entirely sure this is true. Even before, like maybe lately, but Steg has been in his bag lately for sure. There were a couple years where Steg wouldn't even bet baseball for the summer, at least. Him and Greg would take the summer off, But yes, overall, football, basketball, Steg is objectively a better for sure. And he was, and I mean, it was a fascinating thing to see it happen in front of your eyes when we started becoming contrarian. I mean, I'll just never forget it. But Steg was so good at like, we would be there at the bar and be looking at lines and shit. And he'd be like, bro, Virginia Tech is only -3 against USF. And like, maybe Virginia Tech just lost, or I don't know, they just beat somebody by 30. And I'd be like, yeah, I love Virginia Tech, -150. I'm putting them in a parlay. He'd be like, no, man, it's UCF. Like, are you serious? No Twitter, no nothing. Sports Center. And the bro would just see the lines and he would just be the contrarian guy. He was like, he definitely went all in on doing that. It was very, very sharp. DJ, you remember Squatty Potties? I sure do. Yep. There was a baseball stretch you were on a few years ago that was like, it was Tim. Absolutely. I keep forgetting if it was 2 years ago, but I will never forget it. It was 48 units, 48 units. And I think on that season, I was down. I was down like 27 units. And I was like, fuck. I'd always started the year pretty good and then got my ass kicked. That year I started poorly. And I was like, man, and I was doing the baseball streams, talking to the board solo. Steak didn't give a fuck about baseball. Greg didn't give a fuck about baseball. And we just grinded and grinded and grinded. But I gotta say, the RotoWire helped. Those websites helped for sure. We were finding some systems, not models, systems, and things were working. And I love that shit. I still live for it. Like finding stuff like that works. It's like going on a hunt. It's kind of like being a detective. I love that. That's what I love about gambling. That's what I love about it. Like finding these little things that that work, but finding them yourself. That's why I just can't. I can't with the plus EV stuff. I can't. It just does not. It does not. I could not be more flaccid. I could not. And I don't blame anybody for doing it, because if you gamble to like actually make money and rely on that money to pay your expenses or whatever, yes, you want a fucking computer and an algorithm to tell you what you should take. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. I don't care. But I'm so flaccid. It just does not make it move. Every line in every book is just so much sharper compared to what it is. Yeah, but it's like, low blow on crab. There's no low blow on anything. I wasn't shitting on Krabs at all on that. The mass legalization of sports gambling is decreased angle of being contrarian. I do think so. It's very tough to navigate. And at my core, I'm still a contrarian. Absolutely. But I also am trying to be a little bit smarter. And I will tell you, by far the biggest thing that kind of I live for, but it's kind of like, it's a double-edged sword. Is that the right thing I'm saying? Being on social media and like seeing what people are on, or the corp play or the corp guy, I've taken myself out of it, thankfully, but that definitely fucked with me. Like I've absolutely been off of things, because it's like, oh my God, everybody on the feed, blah, blah, blah. And then it hits, you know what I mean? And I'll never forget me, Krabs, and Jovan, when I used to go on the show with them and talk football like once a week. The Cowboys at the Vikings. I'll never forget it. The Cowboys at the Vikings, and the Cowboys were -2 on the road. And I forget, this was the Kirk Cousins Vikings. Do you guys remember this game? And Krabs liked the Cowboys. Krabs liked the Cowboys. The Cowboys looked like the contrarian play, but it felt like everybody was on the Cowboys. You heard all this Cowboys love and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And me and Jovan talked Krabs off. And I think the Cowboys beat the fuck out of the Vikings in that game. The fuck out of them. I mean, like 34-10. Does anybody remember that? It's tough. Anyways, they're going to come on in a little bit. I'm really looking forward to, again, talking some baseball, talking some trade rumors, but we'll keep it high and tight. There's 30 minutes. And then we'll talk a little NFL. Max McGreevy's going for the St. Louis Cardinals today at 5:15 against Brandon Pfaadt. Total at 7.5. I mean, I'll go ahead and say it. Do the Diamondbacks look like the obvious play there? I know both teams are traveling, but St. Louis is coming from California. Arizona was just at home. Arizona just scored 15 runs. Now the Cardinals are -115. McGreevy's it's got a 2.92 ERA though, but Pfaadt's not all that bad. So I don't know. That's might be the Cardinals there. Take the under. Yeah. Yeah, my bad. I'm just generally curious if Thursday's day games cold dudes, because they're already on to the next series. There's a mixed bag. Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm okay targeting cold dudes for another series, 100%. And then the last game on the slate is Melton, this guy for the Detroit Tigers. So I don't know anything about him, but this is where, Steak, we kind of suck at this, but we're trying to get a little bit better. Steak went and saw Melton pitch in Tampa, boots on ground. Like, I saw James Wood get that twinkle in his eye in Baltimore. I think I bet James Wood 3 times. And what happens? Oh, you fast forward 12 games, James Wood is one of the hottest hitters in baseball. Oh, look at Melton. He's really, really good. And Steak's takeaway was, wow, whoever's pitched for the Tiger. Like, we're fucking assholes. You know what I mean? For not leaning into that and betting on that consistently. Like, we're just stupid. There was no reason not to. I could have made it a thing to bet James Wood every single day. I probably would have won money. I probably would have got fucking followers. I didn't do it because I'm a moron. State could have been the guy talking about Melton. Man, I saw Melton pitch. No, we're fucking morons. Anyways, it's a tough slate. I really don't have anything I like that much. I gotta tell you, I will probably. What time is my massage? I have a massage at like 2:45. I'll probably get eyes on. Well, I've already seen Gavin Williams. Obviously, I know Taj Bradley, but that's a sneaky good pitching matchup right there. I would like to watch Max McGreevy. That's a little bit later at 5:15. We'll see if we do or don't go to dinner tonight. But anyways, all right, let me take a quick piss break. I see Krabs and Jovan setting up in the queue there, and got to jump. Thanks for the stream. All right, have a great day. Sneak new 200 on Austin Riley RBI. Didn't you know? I wish. Contrarian works in football, the other sports. Yeah, but it still pays elsewhere. It does. I'm not saying it's dead across the board. It's just I feel like there's landmines and I'm trying to overthink it. And it sucks. When you miss out on contrarian plays, it sucks. But I've just gotten my ass kicked so many times. You get used and abused. Fuck. No, I don't have to take that right now. I'll call that after. All right, let me take a quick piss break. The boys are still setting up too. I think Javon's working on his camera. A near hole in one. God damn it. Scotty making 16 footers. Good. I don't want Biev to lose on day one. I want him to have some good content to go out there. All right, we'll be back, or I'll be back just in a minute, and we'll see you with Krabs and Jovan to talk a little MLB trades and some football talk. Let me get this graphic up, and I'll be right back. Check. All right, we're back. Old school BTL music, by the way. I used to think that music was the shit. I think I even remember asking, similar to along the lines of asking who Nightbot was. I was like, man, where did you get that music from? And then it's the stock music. It's the stock. Oh, I just saw the double camera. Wow, what the hell?
Oh, sure.
Is that on purpose or is that an accident?
No, it's on purpose. Everything Goots does in this world is intentional.
Wait a minute. Hold on, just so I understand this. The camera is going to go back and forth depending on who's talking.
We're going to try to get back and forth as fast as we possibly can to give you some sort of inertia.
Actually, good word, by the way.
I would assume if we had separate cameras, it would echo.
Oh, either way, that's going to be totally fine. All right, but hold on. You are maybe freezing a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Goots is on it. He's working.
Okay, Goots, do you want me to give you a couple more minutes, or do you?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
All right. So my first question is going to go to Krabs. First of all, gentlemen, thank you for joining.
Of course,
the the board review. I have to say I'm very impressed that not only did you place a wager on every MLS game yesterday, but it actually appears that you watched the MLS yesterday. So hold on one second. I actually just thought about this, And I looked at the board and I could not believe how much I kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and how many teams there were in the MLS. There's 30. I tweeted about this. I couldn't believe that. So I have to ask before we start talking about baseball and football, what was your experience like? Because I legitimately don't think I've ever watched an MLS game.
Yeah. 15 games yesterday. I liked your tweet as well. 30 teams in the MLS. Who knew? Who knew they had 30 teams up and moving? That's way too many teams. I'll say that right now. But yeah, bet every team last night, bet every game last night, all 15. Barely profited. A couple bucks. Went 8, 6, and 1 on all 15 plays. So we'll take it. We watched a little bit of the MLS 360 to get the party started last night, and that is the red zone of the MLS. And they were about 10 minutes behind on every goal. They didn't have the commentators. They had like a table of, I guess, old soccer players talking, not just the actual game commentators, which sucked. But it was cool. And then I'm sitting down. We're about to go play some night golf under the lights at this cool PGA Frisco course. We're watching some MLS beforehand. And we see this insane own goal in the Miami game. Did you see that?
Well,
the teammate passed to the goalie and he whiffed.
I saw your tweet.
Unbelievable.
And at first, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And then I'm like waiting to see like, oh God, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? When that ball goes back to the goalie, I still didn't necessarily think like this is where the ball is going to go into the goal. I thought he was going to kick it out. And then it showed the replay and zoomed in. That was baffling. And I think it's kind of making its rounds now today as being one of the worst own goals, I guess, if you'll call it that we've ever seen in any soccer league.
It's got to be the worst goal I've ever seen.
Okay, so just all in all, in general, let's pretend that this was like a movie that you watched. What rating would you give it? Let's say let's say like on a 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I don't think this movie had a lot of, raving reviews beforehand. I don't think people were expecting much.
No.
But I think the movie ended up being okay. I wouldn't go back and see it again. I wouldn't, I probably wouldn't recommend it to a friend, but I'm happy I went to the movie. I'm happy I watched the movie, and that time in my life is over, and now we can move on.
4-4.
4-4. What?
That what you would give it out of 10? Would you give it a 4.4?
Let me get a 5 out of 10. Solid.
Okay.
5 out of 10.
Let me get a solid 5 out of 10.
Better than I expected. Someone said 3.
Yeah.
I would have thought like a 3.6 or something if I had to.
Yeah, I mean, if I was losing coin, it would have been significantly worse. Significantly worse.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. So I want to talk real quick about baseball. You two are more baseball guys than I am. And I always tell the chat where you'll listen to some real baseball conversations on BTL at 12:30. But let's just quickly talk about our teams because we're in really interesting spots. Krabs, let's also, well, actually, you just talk. So we'll go to Jovan first. Jovan, you're a fellow Rays fan.
Right.
I'm a prisoner of the moment. And I did punch in a wager and tweet the other day that I took the Rays to win the AL, not to win the World Series, but to win the AL. It kind of feels like to me this could be the year that the AL is a little bit more wide open, kind of like the East. I'm not saying the Rays or the Knicks or anything like that, but it felt right to take a shot because this just feels like, I'm not going to say a complete team.
Jeff, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. I'm going to take him out and rejoin him. There's a little problem going on.
Okay. All right. That's fine. But I'll finish with what I had to say. I feel like the Rays are a team that have a lot of good pieces and good things going on. Saying they're a complete team would be like, oh, they don't need anything. No, they clearly do. And that's why they're rumored to be very aggressive for this trade deadline. So I think they're going to make a big move. I think they're going to, I don't think that this smoke is just bullshit. I think there's actually fire there. I think the Rays feel like, man, why can't we win the AL? Are we really that scared of the Yankees? Seriously. Are you really that scared of the Yankees? Are you scared of the Mariners? Fuck the Mariners, respectfully. But I took a shot at it. Horrible number, I know, plus 650. And have the Rays ever made a big move to acquire someone? Absolutely, Chef Timbo. Absolutely. Actually, yesterday was the anniversary. They traded Joe Ryan for Nelson Cruz because they needed a home run hitter. They needed pop in that lineup. It was horrible. It was one of the worst trades of all time. But my question is, I think that the Rays, I don't want them to get Tariq Skubal, but there's some real rumors that they might. I was talking about a guy like Michael King, but talking about these teams that might be sellers, I don't know what the Orioles are going to do, but the Padres seem like a team that'll be sellers. The Blue Jays, some people are talking about Kevin Gausman or whatnot. And maybe also getting a bat. Jovan, what do you think? I mean, you can shit on me if you really think that the Rays have a very, very slim to none chance of winning the AL, just win the AL, not the World Series. But what do you think in terms of making a move? Like, is there anything you're following or seeing of some legitimacy for a big name to go to Tampa?
Well, so here's what people may not realize, because there's always smoke every year of like the Rays making a deal, especially like if they're good like they are this year, like near the top of the AL, playoff teams, like they're always sniffing around to make a big deal and they never do it. This year's a little different though, not just because the AL is super wide open, but for people who know how the Rule 5 draft works, the Rays are the kings of do not let your guys go for nothing if you know that you're going to lose them anyway. They have a lot of Rule 5 picks, which essentially mean a lot of these top prospects that they have that are eligible for the Rule 5 draft, if they don't trade them for something, they're going to lose them for nothing. So this is like the most high-end guys that they've had that are Rule 5 draft eligible this year that they've ever had by a long shot. So that's why like they're going to make a big move because they have no other choice, and they'll be pushing the chips all in for that. It does help that it's also a super wide open AL, so it's kind of the perfect storm for everything. So yeah, I don't know how in I am on Scooball. I'm kind of with you. Like, would be fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but like that's not the biggest part of their problems right now. The one that makes easily the most sense is Luis Arias, and I think that has some absolute legitimacy to it, especially being that Ben Williamson / I'll even include Taylor Walls as the middle infield fucking suck. So there's a clear hole there.
Yeah, I asked my buddy Drew, who I think you're familiar with, fellow Rays fan. I said, power rank what the Rays need. He said second base, number 1, high-end reliever, number 2, starting pitcher, number 3, outfield power bat, number 4. Do you have like a dream player or a short list of guys that you would hope to see the Rays trade for?
I mean, it's Arias.
Or sorry, I know you said Arias, but anybody else?
Yeah,
I've heard Jordan, I've heard Buxton.
Jordan, I never understood that from the start. Like, obviously, again, just like Scooball, like would love him, but there's nowhere for him to play because that would mean if we had Jordan theoretically, which he's not on the market anymore. I don't know if he ever was to begin with, but between Jordan, Yandy, and Aranda, there had to be one DH out of those 3. That was never happening. But outside of Arias, I guess, I don't know how big the outfield need might be anymore because Victor Mesa is Barry Bonds and Luca's playing well. So, like, I would assume they probably feel a little more comfortable in that fact. But if they were to go with an outfielder, I would love Lars Nootbaar. I think he's top of my list and a guy that's actually realistic for the Rays to go and get. So I would say he's probably my number 1 if they do go after an outfielder, I guess, after Arias. The other one that would make sense, obviously, is a catcher, despite Nick Fortes playing like he's the greatest catcher of all time. Now that the rumors are starting to get closer and closer, but he hasn't been great. Fiducia is the worst player I've ever seen with 2 eyes. So if they do, I would love for them to swing big and get like a Ryan Jeffers. There's a couple different catchers that they could get that I think I would feel pretty good about, but he's probably top of the list. I don't think they're going to do that, though. They'd never swing big for a catcher, but I don't know. Those would probably be my big 3 that I would be super happy with.
Okay. All right. I like it. Krabs shifting to the Washington Nationals, who are 52 and 51, 8 games back, now tied with the Marlins in 3rd after they've just lost 9 in a row. I have been a big Nationals supporter most of this season. Now, I must start by saying a lot of this stemmed from last season when, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Steak and I picked a team to bet every game in the month of June, and I picked the Washington Nationals. They had like just won a series in Seattle. I thought they were going to get right, and I'm pretty sure they went like 2-8. And I stopped. I got a lot of shit for it. Oh, you stand up business. I was watching the Nationals, and they looked awful at the plate. They looked lifeless. I think maybe you fired your manager. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but this team, I saw them boots on ground in Baltimore. I've been watching them on my television a little bit more than I'd like to admit. They are a fun, scrappy bunch. And I remember listening to Jovan and Goots laugh it up when the question was asked of who's going to have more wins at the end of the year. And I think Goots said the Orioles by 20. I almost fell off my city bike. And so I'm a Nationals respecter.
I wish you did.
I'm a Nationals respecter, but I'm curious because you're in an interesting position. Like, what the fuck does this team do? So what do you want them to do?
Yeah, I want them to trade and I want them to buy at the same time. There's some things this team has to do. If we want to think long term and we want to win another ring, which we're one of the few underdog stories that's done that, besides a heavyweight team over the last decades. If we want to pull off another miracle like that, we need to set ourselves up for the next 3+ years, which means, unfortunately, we have to trade some expiring contracts. We have to trade Foster Griffin, who's been unbelievable and one of the best stories in baseball that should be getting talked about more coming over from Japan, and just being an absolute menace and having an ERA damn near 2. The dude's an absolute nailsman. We have to trade him, though. I mean, we know how this goes with these guys who come over from the KBO or Japan. They ball out for a little bit, and then next thing you know, they're Swiss cheese again. So we have to trade him. And then the Nats fan base is going to freak out because we're trading our ace midseason when we're making a playoff run. But you got to do what you got to do for the future, long term for this team, because we're trying to build a championship contender. We're not just trying to build a team that goes to the playoffs. So, yes, this team does pass the eye test, though, Jeff, and I'm happy you realize that. They are fun to watch. They are a treat. And their offense is legit. Eye test, and statistically, they have the most runs in baseball. They're incredible. If they had an average bullpen, they would be solidified in the playoffs right now, and it's not even a question. So I'm happy, but we're going to sell and we're going to buy at the same time. I'm just hoping we don't trade my guy, Luis Garcia Jr., because he's been one of the best players in baseball, and he was probably the most hated National for about 5 years from the Nationals beat. And just from Nats Twitter, they hated the guy's guts. I've stuck with him through and through, baby Soto. If we trade him, it's going to be a sad day. But again, he's in that bucket where he's not in the future plans from we're trying to make a real legitimate run. So they probably will trade him and sell as high as he's ever been in the next 2 weeks. So it's going to be a weird, 2 weeks. The GM has not stated what he's going to do yet because he's waiting to see, if we win these next couple series or if we lose, and that's going to decide how much we buy or sell.
Got it. If Abrams or Garcia are available,
well,
I'd give a kidney.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there a chance? I was going to say Abrams or Wood. Is there a chance either of those guys get moved?
Those two gents will not get moved.
They won't get moved. Okay,
no.
which is smart.
There was a chance CJ was going to get moved earlier. I think at this point we're keeping him or riding with them. If we do trade him, it'll be in the offseason. But we're going to ride with CJ. We're going to ride with James. We're going to keep our 2 leaders. And then it's the other guys who we might see end up getting sold off.
Yeah. If Luis Garcia was a Ray, that would be your favorite Ray, Jeff.
He's
a very short amount of time.
He's unbelievable.
He's just another Yandy, pretty much.
Oh God, Jesus!
More pop, probably. A little less contact, a little more pop.
Maybe a little more pop.
Yep.
He's insane. Yeah. So the Nationals are 32-20 on the road, which I always appreciate. Good road teams, because even really good teams aren't great on the road. 567 runs scored. The Braves have 502, but they've got 541 runs allowed. That's by far the most of anybody that's on my screen. Okay. All right. Good stuff. It's we got 12 minutes. I would very much like to get your guys' thoughts, and I don't want to take away or dive all the way in on NFL talk or previews. I don't know what you got planned, but coming up, I feel like the end of July came quick and we got training camp coming soon. I just started Quarterback on Netflix. I think I'm on the 2nd episode. Our guy Baker is on there. Jade Daniels is on there. But I want to get your thoughts on your teams. And then if we have any time, I would just be curious to know if there's a team within the division that you do or don't like, we'll be fading or betting on. Because Jovan, I have a thought on someone. Krabs, let's start with you. So the Commanders last year, I felt like they were the number 1 regression candidate going into the season, and a lot of smart people faded them. And I guess you could say it was a little contrarian. I was defending the Commanders. I didn't think that they were going to be a team that regressed. I really like Jane Daniels. I almost took him to win the fucking MVP at like 6-1, which was absurd. And I really like Deebo Samuel. Everybody's like, he's fat, he's this and that, whatever. But the haters are right. And I don't know why it feels like I'm like cozying up to Washington sports teams all of a sudden. But I was a Commanders guy last year, and it did not pan out very well. So you go from being a regression team to a team with a chip on your shoulder and a bounce back team. Loved your draft pick. Did not fire DQ. So Dan Quinn's still there. What are your expectations? I'm going to pull the lines up. I don't know what the betting lines are. Unless you do, feel free to reference them. But what are your expectations as a fan coming into the year for the Washington Commanders?
So 2 years ago, when we went on a legacy run and destroyed the Lions in the playoffs and then got destroyed by the Eagles, that was one of the biggest surprise runs I've seen from one of my teams I followed in my entire life. And that was incredible. That was one of the best seasons I've ever followed for any team in my entire life. The ball bounced their way every single time 2 years ago. They had the best fourth down conversion rate I've ever seen. They were incredible. Last year was the opposite. Last year, they were the unluckiest team in football. Last year, they had a ton of injuries. Last year, they couldn't put it together, and it was like the opposite, to be honest. This year, I think will be somewhere in the middle, maybe a little bit above average. I do think they'll bounce back. They just have a tough division, man. Eagles are going to be good. Cowboys are going to be good. Giants are going to be better. I don't think the Giants will be good like everyone thinks, but I think they'll be better. So we have our hands cut out like we always do in the NFC East, NFC Beast. But I think the Commanders will be better. I love the Antonio Williams draft pick. I think he's got some Terry McLaurin vibes. Chigo Okonkwo, our tight end we brought in from the Titans, draft him in fantasy football. He's going to be an absolute beast of a sleeper tight end. And the defense, we got pretty much a completely new defense, which we need because we had the worst defense in the NFL last year. So Dan Quinn, I wasn't in on him when we signed him, when we hired him. He proved me wrong in year one. I couldn't say shit. I mean, that was impressive to watch. After last year, they chose Dan Quinn over Cliff Kingsbury. We'll see how it works out. I still believe in DQ. I think he's a great motivator, a great guy. And we still have the best QB in that draft class in JD5, and he's going to remind people that this season.
Pretty fair. I think that's very fair. Yeah, everybody in the chat's actually giving you some credit. Good shout on Chig. I didn't know that, and I agree. I like that. I felt like if a guy like Jayden Daniels, any young quarterback kind of needs a good, safety valve of a tight end. And who's been the guy? Ertz, right? Has been Zach Ertz.
Yeah, he's been really good the last. He has been
solid. Which I don't think he wouldn't be the guy if I could choose even just like an average tight end. I wouldn't expect him to be the one to thrive, but that could be a little bit of an upgrade. What is the situation with Terry McLaurin? Did he? I forget. Did he get paid?
He got paid. He's been at camp early, often. All that BS is over. Thank God.
Good. All right. I like it. I'm happy to hear that. Who is the team in the NFC Beast that you are most fearful of? And I feel like maybe that might be an obvious question with people going the Eagles route, but I kind of think that the Cowboys are going to be a little trendy this year.
Yeah. I hate to say Ryan Clark was right, but he might have been onto something the other day. I think the Cowboys are going to be a problem. I do. I think the Cowboys will be very competitive once again. It's going to come down to their defense. Are they able to hang in games? But their offense is going to be great. Dak is still underrated, in my opinion. If he can stay healthy, they'll be good. They have two unbelievable receivers in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens who are going to muck up all the secondaries in the NFC East. I think the Cowboys are a legitimate problem. I think this is a 3-horse race. You could make an argument for 4. I'm not buying into the trendy Giants, but you can make an argument that all 4 teams have a chance to be a playoff contender.
Yeah, I agree with you. I get sucked in. I've said this, but I've bet Kirk Cousins to win the MVP more times than I'd like to admit. The next guy on that list would be Dak Prescott. I hate to say it, not that I felt like I wanted to be on an island, but I didn't hate the Cowboys' moves last season and improving their defense and getting the what was his name, the Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle from the Jets. Getting rid of Parsons was kind of a big deal, but he's a bit of a head case. I think Jerry's the kind of guy that's like he knows he's going to die soon. He does not want to die with a pathetic Cowboys team, and I couldn't believe it. But I just thought those were really smart moves. And even though it's like, oh, is Dak this, Dak that? I'm not even really thinking so much about Dak. And I love Pickens. I just think that defense is going to go from being pathetic to actually maybe competent, and that could pose big problems in the NFC East. All right, last question, then we'll go to Jovan and we'll wrap up. You said you're not buying in the trendy Giants. I was right there with you because before they hired Harbaugh, I liked the core of the Giants. I was wrong about Jackson Dart. I didn't really know that I liked this babyface fucking kid crying on the sideline against Florida from Ole Miss coming into a place like New York. But he was great. I cannot shit on him at all. Malik Neighbors is the man. Cam Scatterbo was fun. And I was like, wow, I think they got that. What's that tight end from Penn State? Theo Johnson or something. Like they got dudes on defense who, I don't know what's going on with Abdul Carter, kind of a little bit of a weird season, but another high draft pick for them. I guess now that they've got serious coach with Harbaugh in the room, he's already coming out with a little bit of cringe, which I retweeted. it doesn't feel like the best fit for me. However, I'll tell you this. I had a flashback, and now I'm getting a little concerned. I'll tell you exactly why. This was the cringe bet last year, and that was Liam Cohen doing the Duval. Yep. And I said, I don't care what the Jags are to miss the playoffs. Put it on my card. I don't like a fucking idiot. So now I'm just getting a little bit of like deja vu of like, fuck, I'm going to make fun of this guy being cringe, but I feel like I might look like an idiot. So what's your take right now on the Giants? Like, do you think you're going to take their under wins? Do you think you're going to hesitate or fade a player?
I think the Giants will beat some teams in their division in games they don't expect. I think Harbaugh will get some gritty divisional wins, and I think they'll drop some games that are non-divisional that people don't expect them to drop. So I think they'll end up around their win total. I don't think they're going to stink it up. I also don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I also like Harbaugh. I don't care if he's coming out with a cringy coach video. Of course he's cringy. He's an old dude talking to a bunch of young kids, football players. 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be cringy. I'm a Harbaugh believer. I think the guy's a great coach, great dudes. I know for a fact he's a great dude, being for the Baltimore area. And I believe in him. Now, do I believe in Jackson Dart, Cam Scatteraboo, Malik Neighbors playing on the most turf field games this season out of any NFL team? I don't know. I think a lot could go wrong. So I think they'll be inconsistent. I think they'll win some games they shouldn't. I think they'll lose some games they shouldn't. They'll end up around their win total. But I'm not fading Harbaugh. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder, kind of like James Franklin a little bit with the Hokies.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay.
But I'm a little bit concerned about their young core. They played a little bit too well last year and played on that turf, man. The way those guys run, Scatteraboo hard, Jackson Dart hard. I'd be surprised if they play the whole season.
Very fair takes. Very fair takes across the board. Okay, a couple more minutes left. Jovan, we're Bucks guys, in case people in the chat don't know. Man. All right. Just quickly to get everybody up to speed. I was not into the Baker signing at the time. I thought the Bucks should just tank, win a couple games, draft a quarterback, build on the future. He comes in basically as a rental for a tryout year. He performs, he gets paid. He's our guy. I've done a complete 180. Baker's a dog. Now we're seeing it obviously on television with the Netflix special. I heard him say something in an interview last year where he's like a Texas guy and he sold his house in Texas. So he's officially no longer a Texas resident. He's a Florida resident. It's like a big deal. Yeah. It sounds stupid, but it's like he's taken the offensive lineman out to go golfing. Like he's a guy. He's a dude. I'm happy to build around him, but I am getting a little frustrated with playing through injury. And he did this happen to him in Cleveland, happened to him last year. We started off very well, MVP conversations, and then that was one of the worst stretches that I can remember. And there's been some bad years for the Bucks, but the way we lost to the fucking Falcons, oh my God, I still have nightmares about that. The Saints, it was just really, really, really bad. So I don't know what to expect. I haven't really done any deep dives or anything or any research on teams or whatnot, but I am coming into the season cautiously optimistic. However, I really don't think like it is a runaway at all in the division. Feels like obviously with Tyler Shook and the Saints getting better, I'm a little nervous about the Panthers to talk about in a second. But what are your overall expectations for the Bucks as of right now coming in?
So I mean, it's a little bit of a buzzkill. Like they essentially chose Todd Bowles over Mike Evans and Levante David staying for another year and change or whatever, which it's not really something that's immediately recoverable, I guess, as an organization. So, I mean, I'd say a lot of Bucks fans, myself included, are pretty pessimistic as long as Bowles is the coach. That being said, I guess while we're talking division and lines, they're a bigger favorite in the division over anybody else than they were last year. And last year was like the year where I think everybody said it was probably the Panthers or probably the Falcons or probably anybody other than the Bucks. So the fact that it's like that this year blows my mind and probably tells me that they're going to be okay. But I'll tell you something that I was very out on until I dove more into it. They hired as offensive coordinator.
I actually don't.
Zach Robinson, who was the Falcons offensive coordinator the last 2 years, who I think a lot of people, because they saw the Falcons offense, they got very tired of, and Falcons fans were definitely pissed at for a while. Remember how unstoppable the offense was under Liam Cohen?
Yeah, I really do.
You know who comes from that same tree because they were coaching under Sean McVay at the same time?
Zach Robinson.
And I think people saw the Falcons offense the last 2 years and didn't realize like he wants to run like a Liam Cohn offense. The difference is your quarterbacks are Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix, and Taylor Heineke in those 2 years. Plus,
good point.
You don't have Drake London's always fucking hurt. So his receivers, other than that, he was going Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 1 for a majority of those games as well. And then Kyle Pitts is his only other weapon that can somewhat stay on the field. So I read more into that, and that excites me more because the offense, they've kept talking about it like it's going to be a committee in the backfield. Don't draft Bucky Irving, not because he's not going to be good, but because they're going to use so many different guys. And then he's going to actually have wide receivers for the first time, a cast of them in a while. So you know what season it is because all reports have been fantastic, really in the offseason, and probably going to see more and more of that. Chris Godwin, who's going to be back and healthy and back in the slot. Similar offense to Cohn. So, like, he's going to have a huge year. Like, Buka's had another year now, sophomore season. McMillan's going to be healthy and back. So, all the confidence in the offense, I guess, to be better. The defense picked up some pieces that I like. It's still Bulls defense, though. So, I cautiously optimistic, I guess, like you would say. I think they're going to be in a pretty similar spot to last year, except probably not have the late season collapse. They're probably going to be a little better, more consistent throughout the season, but it's going to be a dogfight for the division. The team that I'm petrified of is not the Panthers. I'm actually pretty down on the Panthers, but it's the Saints. They terrify the shit out of me this year.
Fair. I'm not going to try to take away anything from the Saints. They actually really scare me too. Tyler Shook does look like the real deal, and I'll never forget. I don't know if anybody remembers this. You're like kind of a quasi Notre Dame fan, but do you remember like the throw of the college football season from Tyler Shook when Louisville played at Notre Dame? He was about to get sacked and threw. I was like, holy fuck, I didn't know that guy had that in his bag. Yeah, things are looking good in for New Orleans, and I'll wrap it up here in a minute. But so you're not high on the Panthers. I want to tell you why I'm a little scared of the Panthers. I am nervous that Bryce Young, I don't necessarily think that he is anywhere near being an elite quarterback. So I want to make that very clear. I'm not like super pro Bryce Young. My problem is this: as someone who sees Canales go to Carolina, you see some potential in him as a head coach. I don't feel like it was necessarily overnight, like with Cohen and Lawrence. But Bryce Young, when he was the quarterback of Alabama, I think the best thing about him was he was a really smart quarterback. He can run, he can throw, he's tiny. Obviously, we all get it. But I felt like he was really high IQ. He was always kind of making the right read, hitting the right guy. Yeah. The longer he's in an offense, the same offense, and with a guy like Canales, who is a pretty solid coach and has a good offense, I kind of feel like there is a chance Bryce Young could be like, I'm not going to call it Bitcoin, but I feel like when Bitcoin went from like 1,000 to 3,500, it was like, whoa, like, wow, there's improvements. I think I might sell it. But then if you hold on to it, it'll go 10 to 20 to 30,000. What I'm trying to get is this. We might have seen Bryce Young at 3,500 last year because there were glimpses of him being really good. I'm nervous. He's got potential to actually just get better and better. And if he gets that confidence and you surround him with weapons, I am legitimately scared of the Carolina Panthers. I'll go ahead and say it.
Yeah, I'll say, like, I'm a Bryce Young guy, and I'm certainly a Canales guy. I just feel like for him, it's high floor, low ceiling. And I think last year we saw the somewhat near the floor, I guess, of like some of the games really bad. But I even if he does continue to get better, I don't know how much better he can get. I don't know how much better the offense can get. So, like, especially when, I don't know if you've looked at their schedule, because that's the first place schedule that they earned. It's fucking tough. So, like, I won't go game to game because we don't have time for that. But if you look at the Panthers schedule and you really think to yourself, what is Bryce Young going to do against these defenses when he sees them for the entirety of the season? What is Canales going to do? What is an offense that has a couple running backs, I guess, back there now, not one that's like going to produce like a super consistent running game? Love Chuba. Jonathan Brooks is getting slurped now, but like against the better defenses on a consistent basis, like Bryce Young's going to have to be slinging the fuck out of the ball, which concerns me a little bit. I do think their defense will be a lot better, though. Not that it was bad last year, but like, wasn't anything that scared you. I think it'll be good.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. And I want to be clear. I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I don't want the Panthers to be really good. So great point about the first place schedule. I totally forgot about that. All right, gentlemen, it's 12:04. You got your show here at 12:30. Thank you very much for coming on. I guess for the most part, everybody can stick around, and you guys will be live at 12:30. Does that sound about right?
Yep. No
All right.
questions about the Ravens or
No.
60 seconds on the Ravens. Let's go around the room real quick.
God damn it, Jeff.
Wait. You guys talked about this yesterday. I actually do think the Ravens might be the sneaky trendy, not sneaky trendy. I think it's like we do this every year with the Ravens. And I think one of you guys brought it up, and it made sense. It was like, well, they lost Harbaugh, so people might be down on the Ravens. I feel like no matter what the Ravens do, if they have Lamar, people are going to like him.
That's what I was saying. I was saying that even like, because it's the same thing with Josh Allen and the Bills, to be frank. You love to pit those guys against each other, but
kind of is.
People will always find a reason for it to be Lamar's year. People will always find a reason for it to be Josh Allen's year, and people less than the other two guys, but people will also find a reason for it to be Joe Burrow's year.
Let me say this, and I agree for sure. But nobody this year is going to say it's Lamar's year.
What do you mean?
I haven't
so
heard that.
false.
I haven't heard that or seen that one time.
So false.
I haven't heard that or seen one Lamar slurpage this entire offseason.
So much slurp.
Usually we have, it's like 50% of the slurpage combined is Lamar slurpage. The other 45% is Josh Allen, and then 5% everyone else.
I would say it's definitely less.
Significantly
less than the last couple of years, 100%.
Significantly less.
But it's also July.
I will say I have not put my ear fully to the streets yet. And I'll get back to you on this. But for now, I would agree with Krabs. I think I've heard more Dak slurpage than Lamar slurpage. So it's already kind of saying whether that's more Dak or less Lamar. It's something.
I mean, I've heard more Jackson Dart slurpage than Lamar.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They're the talk of the offseason, I would say.
Yeah.
The Giants.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do generally agree with Jovan with that take, where all those guys, 9.5 times out of 10, they're getting slurped in the offseason no matter what.
Yeah.
For sure.
Goots, if you're still here, do you have a prediction of what you think?
I mean, I don't really care about the glaze or the who's talking about them enough. I just think about the roster and the team and the coach. And to be honest, I'm a little scared. It's a year one coach. And like, yes, we still have the talent that we have. Coach though. So it's like, how often does that happen to get to the bowl, win a bowl with a year one coach, with a new regime of coaching? So I'm a little skeptical that way. I like the guy, but I'm just,
I know you're
skeptical on that.
You're a Harbaugh guy,
huge Harbaugh guy,
as you should be.
Yeah,
my goodness, if I was a Ravens fan, I'd be the biggest Harbaugh guy of all time.
Yeah.
I will say though, and I know you're concerned with the first year coach. You haven't had that in eons.
Yeah.
First year coaches, first year teams, first year regimes in the NFL have had some success.
Okay.
Over the last couple years.
Good point.
Look at what the Commanders did a couple years ago with Dan Quinn.
You're right.
Look at the Bears.
A lot of teams have success because they're doing something new. They're doing something different. So I think it could be a good thing a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so in on our offense coordinator, Declan Doyle, coming from the Bears, learning from Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see that. Josh has been glazing in big time. Obviously, Josh is biased Bears fan, but still, I mean, I trust Josh's football knowledge. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited. And you're right, Krabs. I mean, maybe I should be a little more bullish on him. And
No. You're fine. Yeah, you don't need to be more bullish.
I understand why you're not. And they're probably winning the bowl because it's the first time you're not super excited.
I'm not going to say that. I try and be unbiased. No one says I ever am, but I try. I think I was there. So
this is big breaking news. I mean, when teams who keep underachieving and disappointing their fan base, when the fans are kind of talking like, oh, I'm a little scared. That's when they.
You're not wrong.
That's when they strike.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say Harbaugh. I like him too. I'm totally with you. It's like if you don't like John Harbaugh, it's like why? But I will say with every coach that's been with the team for a long time, sometimes you squeeze all the juice out of them. Like Andy Reid, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he? He had his runs with the Eagles and he finally leaves, and then Peterson takes him to the Super Bowl. It's like, I think a change of scenery is good. I think a new guy in there is good. So yeah, you know what though? Trendy popular picks do hit. If it happens to be the Ravens, fast forward and they're in the Super Bowl, I'm not going to be that surprised. So you won't catch me fading Baltimore in any way, shape, or form. But on that note, I do love hearing that Trent said that ever since Goots moved to Dallas, he checks the score of Baltimore teams to make sure they're losing.
Yeah, he just hate watches them. He doesn't even have real teams that he roots for. He just hate watches Baltimore teams.
Yeah, Trent has one team and it's the Thunder. The rest of his rooting interests revolve around his bets and making sure everybody in this office does not hit their bets.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah, I think he told me he was an Angels fan. I was like, no,
Yeah,
that's
biggest
not right.
Angels
He
fan.
could care less about the goddamn Halos, man. It's just.
All right, I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much for coming on. Good luck. We'll talk more this season, and everybody, make sure to stick around. 12:30 BTL. Gentlemen, you have a great day and have a good show.
Sure.
Jeff, happy birthday, bro.
Yep,
Thanks,
happy birthday,
appreciate
Jeff.
it.
You're the man.
The big 3-9. I can't even think of an athlete that's 39, which is unfortunate. I always like to do that. So
Tiger.
Matt Stafford.
Tiger. No,
Tiger?
Stafford's
42?
9. 30.
Close.
Stafford's probably close.
Stafford's 38. He'll turn
Yeah.
39 in
No,
February.
I meant the
so-
football number.
Oh,
I don't know of an athlete
yeah.
that's 39. That's good, you know?
39.
Yeah, I can't think of a 39.
Yeah. there's
Messi?
probably
Thanos on Tepakumbo.
All right,
Right,
great
that's
show.
insane.
Thank you very much, everybody. You guys
Thanks,
have a great
Jeff.
day. Good luck on your wagers.